Geddes. Fourth quarter, second quarter, there's 45.
Live from the Dakota Dome, South Dakota's best, the high school football championships. Brought to you by Cenex, your local Coca-Cola bottler, Duke Tufte Company, Jackrabbit Lines, Northwestern Bank, Northwestern Bell, Southwest State University, Max Pasley Distributor, and your Speed Queen dealer, and Terrace Park Dairy.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Dakota Dome at the University of South Dakota in Vermilion. And while the first winter storm of the season is abating here in southeastern South Dakota and perhaps throughout the state and some of the neighboring states, it's cozy and comfortable in the Dakota Dome as a atmospheric picture of excitement and pre-game activity to unfold the 1982, the second annual South Dakota State High School Football Championships. And the first game this afternoon to kick off the five-game series will be between two undefeated teams, the Geddes Rams and the Wood Bulldogs, who will tackle for the 9A championship. We'll be back at the Dakota Dome with the starting lineups of this afternoon's opening game in just a moment.
Introducing a new natural choice from Terrace Park, the Gallon 2-Pack. The convenience of a gallon container with the vitamin-protecting goodness of paper. Pick up a Terrace Park Gallon 2-Pack today and enter our 2-Pack sweepstakes. You could win a kitchen full of Whirlpool appliances or one of 55 other valuable prizes. See details at your grocer's dairy case. The Gallon 2-Pack from Terrace Park, a natural part of your life.
You're looking at two of the most expensive washers you can buy. This one has a stainless steel tub with a lifetime warranty. This one doesn't. This one has an agitator with a 210-degree power stroke. Not here. This one has a transmission with a 10-year limited warranty. 5. Speed Queen. Maytag. Two of the most expensive washers. But that's where the similarity ends. Speed Queen. Built for all it's worth.
R&M Appliance in Pierre, Sebesma Refrigerator and Appliance in Platte, and Larkin & Jones in Rapid City.
Back at the Dakota Dome and getting set for the start of the Class 9A State High School Football Championship. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Bird, and working along with me this afternoon will Jim Thompson, who will be calling the play-by-play for you and doing the analytical look at the games as they progress will be Jerry Miller, the head football coach at Sioux Falls Lincoln. Jim, good to have you aboard.
Gary Miller, literally my right-hand man for the 1982 State Football Championship. Looks like we're going to have a classic matchup here in the very first ball game of the playoffs, Jerry.
So, Jim, the fact that they both are 11-0, they're both averaging over 40 points a game. I think another kind of interesting sidelight, Geddes didn't make the playoff last year, and they were undefeated, and they changed their schedule a little bit, so they did what they had to do to get into this championship game. It should be good.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for Geddes. The Rams rated number 1 in the Class 9A poll in their backfield. They'll start at the quarterback, 5'11" senior Bob Miller, number 20. For running back for Geddes, number 34, 5'10", 190-pound Mike Sarda. Sarda is a sophomore. On the other side, left half is Dan Sarda, a junior, number 42. And at the wingback is number 32, Eric Nordstrom, 5'11", 180. He's a junior. In the line, the offensive starting line for Geddes, number 52, the center, Jay Johnson. At the guards, Pat Huggins and Rod Barkley. And at the ends, Mike Slaba and Ben Huggins. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem under the direction of Donna Yar, the Geddes Band. the Geddes Band with our national anthem as we get ready to start. Jerry Miller, a lot of people may not have had an opportunity to see 9-man football. What are they going to see different from their traditional 11-man formations?
Well, the only thing that's really different, Jim, is the fact, of course, there are 2 less players, and they take them out of the line where they would either have just 2 guards instead of 2 guards and 2 tackles. Basically, that's the difference. Everything else is the same. They might have 1 wide receiver. He might be a lineman. He might be somebody out of the backfield. So other than that, it's the same as 11 men, just short 2 offensive linemen.
And 12 yards to go for a first
12 and a half, I think.
12 and a half. All right.
I think it's 12 and a half. 12 and a half is right.
All right, and we're ready to go. It'll be Wood kicking off, and Geddes offense is going to be receiving to start this first game of the 1982 South Dakota State High School football playoffs.
The officials for this afternoon's opening game will be Chet Jones of Brandon, South Dakota, the referee. Roger Starks is the head linesman. Lyle Schmidt is the line judge, and Greg Mielke is the head linesman.
And we're ready to go as Corey Sinkler approaches the ball. There's the kickoff. It's short. Going to be taken by one of the Utmen at about the 25-yard line. Returning it out to the 30. Gets some interference ahead of him, but he's only able to get up to about the 37-yard line, and we're underway with the first offensive series of the ball game as Geddes Rams, number 1 in the 9A poll, goes on the attack. They've won 19 in a row. As Jerry Miller indicated earlier, they had an undefeated 8-0 season last year. Because of their schedule, were not able to make the playoffs. They did this year by winning 11 in a row. And Jerry, they've got something to prove.
Yes, they sure do. And I think, I think that's what the game of football is all about.
High-scoring offense. Bob Miller, the quarterback, gives off in the backfield to Mike Sarda, 1,200 yards during the regular season. He tries the left side of the line, gets out across the 40.
I think, Jim, it's going to be kind of interesting. From what I've been able to gather about both of these, they like to get outside in that first play. Sarda ran the ball inside.
Picking up 3 at 2nd down and 9, just across the 40-yard line for the Geddes Rams under the head coaching of Mel Fathke from Dakota State, his 4th year. Again, Bob Miller calling the signals. Rolling out on the other side to Dan Sarda, and Sarda is tackled for a loss. He fumbles the ball. Was it after the whistle?
I believe it was, Jim.
But a loss on the play. They're going to be marking it back just short of the 39-yard line. So 3rd down, about 11, with 10:53 to play, first quarter of this first game.
I don't think either one of them like to throw the ball too well, but they're kind of in a situation right now where it's either that or they're going to have to get mighty wide.
And an offensive, somebody started to take an official's timeout on equipment adjustment. That's taken care of. And we're ready to start. It's 3rd down and 10. Now, for the first time to pass, but having some problems, Miller is going to be sacked in the backfield. And I'll tell you, he was swarmed under. There were at least 3 blue shirts on him, and they included number 80. That's Mike Moore. And on the other side on that play, Mike Piper.
That's kind of interesting, Jim. They set into the old pro set shotgun that time, and I don't know if they're used to doing that or not.
Back to punt will be Dan Sarda, number 42. Deep to receive will be Earl Brown and Dwayne Hall. The punt is away. It's a line drive kick that'll be fielded. No, it's not going to be fielded. It's going to be rolling down. It's going to be good. Down. Now it takes a bounce for Wood, and it's going to be dead at the 22-yard line. So at about the 21 is where it'll be marked. It'll be the first opportunity for the Bulldogs of Wood, rated number 2 in the Class 9A poll. They averaged 48 points a game. They had 6 shutouts, Jerry, including 4 in a row mid-season. They scored 75 points in one game, 73 the next time out, an offensive powerhouse.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here how they react here this first time in the Dome.
Dwayne Hall is the quarterback. Brian Horstman will be on one side. Barry Gardner on the other, with Roger Kingsbury, a wide receiver, and Todd Long straight up the middle for about 6 yards. Going out across the 25, maybe to the 26-yard line, and carrying the ball was Todd Long, who during the season gained 1,150 yards. A 5'10", 160-pound junior, just straight ahead, grinded out football.
I think maybe Wood likes to get outside, too, after making about 3 yards there. They're running right out of the I formation.
2nd down and 9. I said 6 there at the 26-yard line. Rolling back is Hall, rolling out on the right. Got some room, puts the ball up in the air. It's going to be complete. Good catch out on the side of Corey Sinkler, and Sinkler is down, but not till he gets into Geddes territory at the 41-yard line.
Who said they didn't?
Jim Wood starting to score, or starting to move the ball here in the first series of downs. They outscored their opponents this year 434 to 24. And that swarming defense we saw against Geddes in the opening gave up only an average of 2 and 7 points per game this year.
Amazing.
Here's a replay.
Replay now here. The quarterback scrambles out of there awfully good, Hall, and it's a good throw to Sinkler. And
as we come back to live action, you see the tail end of Todd Long's run around the left side. He went a long ways, but not for much yardage. He got right back to about the 40-yard line. In fact, the official's foot is directly on the 40. It's going to be a pickup of maybe a yard, so it'll be 2nd down and 11 at the 40-yard line as Wood has pushed themselves into Geddes territory, first time of the ball game.
I think that's what they like to do. Both teams is get outside like that, so it'll be interesting to see if they can turn that corner on very many plays.
Somebody told me, Jim, watch for Corey Sinkler. He proved it on the catch in the play before last. Again, Dwayne Hall pitching out as he's tripped. It's going to Barry Gardner around the right side, but Gardner, again, not having a lot of luck with a swarming, following pursuit of that Geddes defense out on the left side, and they did a super job.
That was a good play by number 20 there, Bob Millar. He came up from his linebacker spot and made a big tackle. That was a good play.
Miller's a senior, 5'11", 160 pounds at his linebacker position. Middle linebacker is Mike Sarda. John Sarda is a linebacker, and Dan Sarda is a defensive back. 3 Sardas on this team, and all are underclassmen. Freshmen, sophomore, and junior. They'll be around for a while for this Geddes defensive team. Now we've got a situation where it's 3rd and 10, 7:44 to play in the first quarter. Wood goes on into a shotgun formation, but out on that right side there was a little bit of action, I believe, on Mike Slaba, number 22, who was wanting to get back into that backfield too quickly. So there's a break for Wood.
Now it's going to make it about 3rd and about 15 probably.
No, I think it was on Geddes. So
oh, excuse me, it's the other way. So it's going to be 3rd and about 6.
They're going to place the ball down inside the 35.
Ball's ready.
It's at the 34-yard line. You hear the official making the 3rd down call. Is Dwayne Hall now with a 3rd and short. 7.5 minutes to play. Into the middle of the line. Nice play. Barry Gardner. And Gardner gets across the 30-yard line. This is going to be a close play to whether or not he got the first down. He tried the right side of the line. It was a good play from Dwayne Hall, faking outside and giving inside to his running back, Barry Gardner.
A good job opening the hole up there on the right side. He had an awful lot of running room there. He's got 4th and about a yard.
4th and short, and they've got the ball inside the 30, marking it at the 29. It's the first game of 5 that you'll be watching over this weekend for the 1982 edition of the state high school football playoffs in South Dakota. Dwayne Hall on a 4th and short, keeper across the middle. I would guess, Jerry, all indications are that play made his first down.
I believe so.
Yep,
quite easily. That's all they're trying to do. They had 2 wide receivers one direction and one split in, the other one trying to spread out the defense a little bit, and just stayed behind those 2 guards in the center and just ran the quarterback sneak.
Seen a little bit of everything. Pass on a rollout to the right. We've seen some shotgun formations. We've seen sweeps and right up the middle, and it's all in within the first 6 minutes of this game. 6:50 to play. Now we have receivers split out, 2 out to the left side, including Barry Gardner out wide left. Dwayne Hall, quick pass out on the side to Gardner. Gardner rolls across the 30 to the 25. He's at the 20, down the sidelines to the 10, and he's in for the touchdown. There's the first score of the ball game. Let's check, make sure there's no flags. There are not. And first blood is scored by the Wood Bulldogs, rated number 2 in the Class 9A poll, and they go in for a score from the 29-yard line. Let's take a look at that one again. Here's a flare pass out on the side. Works his way out. You watch him as he goes down the side. Jerry, nice tight running along the sideline.
Well, I guess that was good. That was a good throw, and I think we kind of call that a short screen with 1 blocker out there and 1 receiver.
And now on the run for the 2 points to give the ball to Corey Sinkler, and Sinkler is going to be stopped short. He did not make it with 6 minutes and 32 seconds to play in the first quarter. The score, the Wood Bulldogs 6 and the Geddes Rams nothing.
Now Cenex has one tire for all kinds of weather. The Co-op Golden Mark steel-belted radial. Rain or shine, mud or snow, Golden Mark radials deliver the handling and traction you need, thanks to aggressive tread that's deeper and wider than ordinary radials. And a new tire compound helps Golden Mark radials improve your fuel economy compared to non-radial tires. The Co-op Golden Mark. It's the year-round radial from Cenex.
Cenex is the country way, 'cause Cenex is you. sure wear them down, Mr. Vetter.
You got to pound the old pavement in every little town to stay ahead, right?
My company has Watts.
No, I'm talking about sales.
We call it telemarketing. With Bell Watts lines to service customers, sales go up, and the cost of selling goes down.
Like keeping your foot in the door.
Without wearing down the shoe leather.
Smart guy. Been shining his shoes a long time?
Years. The same pair.
Watts. It's another way to get things done today.
Corey Sinkler getting ready to approach the football as Wood has first blood in the 6-0 lead, and they'll be kicking off to Geddes. Corey Sinkler will be kicking off. Dan Sarda, Mike Slaba back to receive. But again, it's going to be a short kick that's taken at the 15-yard line, out to the 20, and hit and fumbled at the 25. The ball is loose. The official is right on it. Let's see. I think they're going to be giving it back, however, to Geddes. I think that's correct.
Mike Sarda.
So Sarda bringing the ball out to the right that time, and again, Geddes seeming a little tentative, Jerry. 6 minutes and 24 seconds now to play in the first quarter of this ball game, and Geddes trying to get back into it, trailing 6-0 in the first period. Bob Miller giving off on the left. That's Mike Sarda. Sarda, who ran for 1,200 yards during the regular season and into the two playoff games, averaging 7 yards a game. He's just a sophomore, and he gets out to the 29. Let's take a look at the graphics and how it looked for that scoring drive for the Wood Bulldogs. They ran 7 plays, 78 yards, and it took them just 3 minutes and 22 seconds to do it. And a Hall to Gardner 27-yard pass culminated that drive. The extra point, 2-point conversion attempt was no good. It's 6-0 now with 5:47 to play. Again, faking into the line and going over the right side that time. I said right tackle. We don't have tackles in 9-man here, Jerry, but they over the guard and across to about the 32-yard line is where it'll be. 5:34 to play in the first quarter, 3rd and 6 coming up for Geddes.
That was a good play by the defensive left end there, Mike Moore, that time. He read that play off tackle or guard in the end, whatever we want to call it. And they made a great defensive play.
3rd down and 6, 5:15 to play. Again in the shotgun formation for Bob Miller, the 5'11" senior quarterback. He does screen it out to Sarda, and Sarda is hit shy of a first down at the 35-yard line. I say Sarda, there's several of those in the lineup. This is Mike Sarda. Mike is a sophomore. He had 21 touchdowns in the regular season with over 1,200 yards rushing in their 11-0 season, leading them to the #1 ranking in the Class 9A poll. Now it's 4th down and 2, but they're in their own territory, and so punting, at least scheduled to punt, is Dan Sarda. He'll be standing back on about the 36 or 26-yard line. The punt is going to be fielded at the 32 to the 40 to the 45. Midfield at the 50 and across into Geddes territory, and it's going to be a good situation coming back for Earl Brown, the Wood kickoff returner. Punt return across midfield and at the 46, 47-yard line where Wood gets it in good field condition.
I'll tell you, that, that's the important thing. Whenever you're catching a punt, you got to get that ball. You can't let it bounce on the ground, and he caught it, got upfield. He returned that probably about almost 30 yards. So that's an awful good offensive threat when you can do that.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. 6-0. Wood has the lead. And there's a timeout on the field. The score with 4:30 to play in the quarter. Wood 6 and Geddes nothing.
What exactly is it?
Oh, you haven't heard? Smartest money idea in years.
Really? Tell me more.
Money fund checking. Gives you access to money market rates at a bank.
Money fund checking?
Lets you write checks, and all your money works full time.
Money fund checking at your bank?
Yeah. Come on.
Hey, what bank?
Money fund checking at your Northwestern Bank, the Money Center.
Just making the comment that Wood appears to be a bit more physical perhaps in the early going than is Geddes, and that may be the reason, first of all, for their 6-0 lead and the fact they're on the drive again.
Yeah, it's that may be a little bit deceiving from here, but it just appears that way as far as their blocking and tackling is concerned right now, but that could change too.
Both teams undefeated. Switch back to Barry Gardner, right side. Gardner gets across the line of scrimmage to the 45 and down to maybe the 43-yard line. So Barry Gardner, a 1,200-yard rusher, just a junior. Both of these teams have a lot of underclassmen coming back, Jerry.
Yeah, that's definitely true in just about all 9-man teams. They have their 9th graders and 10th graders with their varsity, and There are a lot of kids standing over there on the sideline that can't weigh 100 pounds, but I'll tell you what, doesn't make a difference whether they weigh 100 or 150. You know, they're
ready to play.
That's right.
Russ Lauritsen is the center. Lauren Benedict, Ron Derry are the guards. And hit in the backfield. There's a flag down, but hit in the backfield very quickly with that was Todd Long, the fullback, and he was nailed for about a 5-yard loss, but there was a flag thrown from the defensive backfield. Jerry?
Well, it'd be kind of interesting to see what that is, but number 34 there, Sarda, he came in there. Boy, that was a great shot. Great shot from his linebacker spot. So evidently it's got to be against Wood.
And it looks like a major...
a holding penalty.
A holding penalty.
Against Wood.
Jim Burt keeping track of that and also watching for our on-the-sidelines roving reporters, so we may have an opportunity to hear from down there as our game progresses. 3:54 to play, first quarter. Wood with a 6-0 lead had somewhat of a drive going. They had moved to the 43 on that play. Let's take a look at the replay. There you see the flag right there coming down, Jerry.
Yeah, and that was Sarda, number 34, that made the great defensive play there. I don't know, they going to make it about second and about 25. It would have been about third and...
A couple of blocks is what it's going to be. It's a long ways. Todd Long had rushed for 1,150 yards during the regular season.
It's going to be second down over again.
I'm not too sure that maybe Sarda didn't hear me when I said maybe they weren't as physical as Wood was.
He went out to disprove that. They're at the 43-yard line now. Wood is in their own side of the field, however, right now. 3:49 to play in the first quarter. Dwayne Hall with a pitch out on the side, coming again to Todd Long, trying the corner. He's unable to get it and stopped for no gain, negligible if any.
Again, that play, Mike Sarda did not make the tackle, but he's the guy that forced that to be strung out, and he's the guy that should get just as much credit for that play as the guy that made the tackle. That was number 22, I believe.
That's Mike Slaba, the defensive end. Slaba's at the defensive end, as is Ben Huggins. Jay Johnson and Pat Huggins are the defensive guards for Wood. For Geddes. Dan Sarda, defensive back. Jarn Sarda is a linebacker, as is Bob Miller. Mike Sarda is the middle linebacker, and Eric Nordstrom, the other defensive back. Dwayne Hall now on a 3rd and long. Back to pass, and he's under a rush, but he gets the ball complete to Barry Gardner. Gardner's at midfield and across again into Geddes territory, but it will be short of a first down, obviously. They had a long ways to go, and it's coming on a 4th down. But across midfield to the 43, make it the 48-yard line, is where Wood will have the decision. They're now in Geddes territory. It is 4th down. Will they punt?
Jim,
long ways.
Pat Huggins again in on the tackle. He's the leading defensive tackler for Geddes with 75 and 45 assists. He has 4 sacks this year. Geddes' defense beginning to stiffen a little bit in this second Wood series.
And they're doing it well, and just in time, Dwayne Hall to punt, and he punts it for the out-of-bounds marker. It is going to be fielded and then fumbled out of bounds. Fielded and fumbled out of bounds by Dan Sarda, back at about the 19-yard line. So Geddes will have an opportunity offensively, but it's deep in their own territory.
Well, that... the same thing we were just talking about before, returning that punt. Dan Sarda there tried to pick it up on a dead run. He really didn't have anything to lose. If he didn't get it, it could go out of bounds. So that was a smart play on his part.
2 minutes and 55 seconds to play in the first quarter. First down and 12 now. Again, or 12 and a half yards for the first down, as it is in 9-man football. This is the championship of South Dakota Class 9A. 2 undefeated teams. Bob Miller rolling back to pass. Gets a rush. And lobs the ball out. And without much success that time, he was trying Ben Huggins, his end, and Huggins had to dive for it and was unable to come up with the completion. That looked more like a lob pass.
He had a pretty good rush on him that time,
yeah,
Jerry.
That's what he was doing. He stopped before he went across the line of scrimmage and just tried to throw it over the defender's head, and it was incomplete, but that was pretty good play on Bob Miller's part.
So it's second down now. 2:48 to play first quarter. Clock is stopped. Swinging out on this time to Mike Sarda. He tries the left side. There's a flag as Sarda gets close to a first down across the 30-yard line.
Probably had a hold or a blocking below the waist that time, Jim.
Well, it is.
It's a clip.
And it's on Geddes, and that will negate, but otherwise would have been a very nice run. Let's look at that run again.
Yeah, number 34 here.
You'll be able to see the clip right here, Jerry.
Well, there were a couple of spots there. There could have been maybe 2 of them there. Yeah. I'm not sure, Jim.
Mike Sarda, the ball carrier, it happened before he actually made his cut to turn upfield, so it was somebody from behind him. Well, I would have to say that it's not going to take a great mathematician to figure out whether they want the penalty or not on this one.
No, I think that's probably right. But I'll tell you, sometimes if the officials don't explain it right, sometimes coaches get criticized and sometimes players get criticized. And if the officials do not explain it properly, sometimes they'll get confused.
We had some officials come up to the booth and say, don't let Miller talk about officials during the game.
Well, I have to, I know Chet Jones pretty well, and if I didn't stack it on him a little bit, he'd think there was something wrong.
Second down and 21 yards to go now for Geddes, deep in their own territory. Again, Bob Miller wants to pass. He's got a heavy rush and is going to be sacked.
Good thing he was stacked that time, too. Mike Slaba broke out in the open there, and if he'd got the ball up there, he might have been able to catch that. And they're down there awful deep now.
Remarkably close to a safety. He was very fortunate. As you see the placement of the ball on your screen, it gives you an opportunity to see how close that was to a 2-point safety for Wood, who leads already 6-0 with just over 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. Now it's 3rd down and 30. A long ways to go to get a first down. They're going to have to bring it out to the 32-yard line. The ball is just short of the 2. Quick kicking in. The ball is blocked, and it's a
touchdown.
It's in the end zone. Yes. Jerry.
They haven't signaled a touchdown yet.
No, let's wait.
They're going to give it to him on the 1-foot line.
The ball was touched, hit somebody's back.
He was awfully close, Jerry, even for a quick kick.
Well, yeah.
Let's watch it. Let's look at it.
Okay, it looks like number 60 is the one that, number 63 or 60. We blocked that.
Lauren Benedict.
Okay, number 60, Lauren Benedict.
So our situation has reversed again very quickly. It looked like Geddes was going to stiffen their defense. Their offense, perhaps, though they were deep in their own territory, starting at the 19, then was knocked all the way back by penalties or otherwise, clear back to the 1-yard line. With 1:52 to play in the first quarter, we have a timeout on the field with the score. Wood 6 and Geddes nothing.
Okay, kids, take a break. Coke is it the most refreshing way to make the most of every day. And wherever you go and whatever you do, there's something big waiting for me and you. Coke is it the biggest taste you've ever found. Coke is it the one that never lets you down. Coke is it the most refreshing taste around. Coke is it. Coke is it.
First quarter, Wood 6, Geddes nothing, but now the Wood Bulldogs have the ball back again just shy of the goal line. What kind of strategy would you have here? You want your kids to score pretty quickly, wouldn't you say, Jerry?
Get in the end zone. That's the strategy, Jim. Make any difference how you get there.
Nothing fancy. Get it there the way they got here. And it is touchdown, moving it across the right side of the line. Dwayne Hall, the quarterback, and it's a touchdown for Wood. They have gone back on top by a score of 12-0, and there you see some of the fans that have braved the weather to come to the beautiful South Dakota Dome. Let's look at it again. It's a keeper by Dwayne Hall, the junior quarterback, number 17, a 5'11", 160-pound quarterback. He scores to make it 12-0.
He just slid off to the right between his guard and center there. It looked pretty easy.
Pretty basic football. 1:49 remaining in the first quarter yet. This time they give the ball out on the other side to Horstman, and he is unable to bring it short into the end zone, and so the 2-point conversion fails, and the score with 1 minute and 49 seconds to play in the first quarter. The Wood Bulldogs 12 and the Geddes Rams nothing. Well, Jerry, let's take a look at that, the possibilities on that scoring drive. That was just one play, 1 yard, 3 seconds. All right. That's easy to figure. And again, Corey Sinclair is going to get an opportunity to kick off the third time, and he's done it in less than 10 minutes.
Well, you know, this frequently happens in nine-man football. You get an awful lot of scores. It doesn't seem possible. Sometimes you see some of the scores that they have, but they make some long runs. They make some big plays.
All right, let's take a look at it now as Corey Sinclair coaches the football. He's not kicked long before, and it's had to be taken by up men. This time Dan Sarda fields it, and he's out to the 30, to the 35-yard line, and wrestled down at about the 37. Corey Sinkler, you bet. Sinkler was right in there to help out with that tackle. And Ron Derry also was down there to pull him down. It's at the 37-yard line.
Little interesting side note, gentlemen. The coach at Wood, of course, is Leo Lennick. And he comes from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. And he was graduated from Lehigh. So he's acquainted with Joe Paterno of Penn State. And Paterno has asked for some films on Corey Sinkler. He's 6'3", 195-pounder. So he's going to take a look at big-time football.
Catch the football. There's a give into the middle of the line by Bob Miller trying Dan Sarda.
I thought the only thing Joe Paterno ever wanted was linebackers, Jim.
He's produced a lot of those.
Boy, he sure has.
Sarda with a no gain, so second down, 12.5 yards to go for the first down. Clock is moving, just over a minute to play in the first quarter, 12-0. Wood has rolled to an early lead, but remember, this is wide open, explosive football, and both of these teams have averaged in excess of 40 points a game during the season.
Sinkler maybe could adjust the linebacker, Jerry.
Miller feeding it out on the side again to Sarda. Sarda's at the 45-yard line and roll down at the 43-yard line.
That's just a little quick pitch outside, and he's just trying to beat the end and trying to get outside on the defensive back there. And got it to about third and about 8, I suppose, something like that, Jim.
He scored 16 touchdowns during the year, averaged 5 yards per carry, not too bad. Third down and 8, you're a pretty good guesser there for a football coach.
That was a good tackle there by that number 42. If he'd have got the corner turn, he could have picked up some good yardage.
Todd Long, the linebacker.
You know, Jim, I can figure these a lot easier when it's first and 10.
I understand. 17 seconds. Miller's pass is complete, and he fumbles the ball. It'll be, no, incomplete. He did not hold it long enough. The official right on top of it, and the pass intended for Mike Slava was dropped. So it's coming on a 4th and 8. The clock stopped with 13 seconds to play in the first quarter, and the ball is going to be down at the 42-yard line. And now Geddes has a 4th down situation. They're almost going to have to punt it down by a score of 12-0. And the Geddes punter is Dan Sarda. He's had this opportunity on a couple of occasions. He's standing at the 30, a little wide of the punt, but he gets it away. Good, high hanging punt.
Good kick.
Back there is Gardner. Barry Gardner. Check that, Earl Brown, and Brown is hit at about the 13-yard line is where they'll mark it.
That was a good kick that time. I'm not sure how many yards that was. 45-yard kick and had a lot of hang time. That's an awful good kick.
Easily covered.
Yes.
Our coach likes to see those things practiced. Well, we have 3 seconds to play in the first quarter, and Wood has the ball again. They lead already, 12-0. One on a long drive, another one on an opportunistic team's possibility of taking over on a quick kick, and they're going to let the clock run out. That's the end of first quarter of action here at the Class 9A Football Championships, live from the Dakota Dome in Vermillion, with the score, Wood 12 and Geddes nothing.
We've got the keys at Duke Tufte Company. We've got the keys to new Dodges, AMCs, Subarus, and Jeeps. We've got the keys to a fine selection of used cars. We've got the keys to brand new Dodges with factory rebates up to $600. We've got the keys to 83 AMC four-wheel drive Eagles and Jeep Wagoneers. We've got the keys to Subarus, two-wheel and four-wheel drive. We've got the keys to a fine selection of used cars and trucks. At Duke Tufte Company, we've got the keys to new and used cars. At Duke Tufte Company, we've got the keys to your next car.
Looking at it every time.
All right, we're back at the Dakota Dome. Second quarter just underway. 12-0. Wood has the lead. Bridgewater's the defending champion. They didn't make it to the playoffs this year. They won in a defensive battle, 6-0 over Cologne last year. Now the opportunity for one of these two teams to be the best Class 9A football team in the state. Do the playoffs offer that opportunity? Can we make that kind of a statement?
Well, yes, I think we can now. You know, there's going to be very few. We still don't have all the bugs worked out of the system because we still had one team this year that was undefeated 9-man that didn't make it. But they're getting better. It's a heck of a lot better than we had before, I'll tell you that.
Dwayne Hall to Barry Gardner, and Gardner trying to come out on the right side from his own 13-yard line.
Pat Huggins, great job.
Stopped for a loss.
Number 50 and number 34, Sarda and Huggins both. That was a great play.
Jerry, on the current point system, you're just about to have to play 9-man to be in contention for a playoff spot.
You mean 9 games,
or 9
Jim?
games, excuse me, yes.
Well, that's almost true because in each 9-man class there are about 50 teams.
So we got a 2nd and 14 from the 11-yard line now for the Wood Bulldogs. This time straight up the middle. There's a flag thrown as the Bulldogs bring the ball out across the 15-yard line.
holding over
here. Holding penalty on Wood. Although the penalties seem to have favored Geddes, the score certainly favors Wood, and Wood has not been hurt particularly by all those penalties.
Well, now it's going to...
Let's take a look.
See if we can see that holding this time on the replay, Jim.
Give the ball very quickly there to Todd Long.
Yeah.
A little hard to see. It opened so quickly.
Yeah, they're going to be, now it's going to be second down, and they're going to be about on the 6-yard line, so...
go back halfway to the goal line.
Yeah.
What was the 11?
He's got to be about second down and about 15 now, or 16, so that's, it's going to make it pretty tough.
According to the book, second and 19 on
19.
Big
Keep
scoreboard.
forgetting that other 2.5 yards.
That's right. Pretty good crowd on hand despite the weather, and very enthusiastic to watch this ball game, the Class 9A championship game at the Dakota Dome. Just underway, second quarter, and again, Wood trying the middle of the line, and they stack up on our left from our broadcast booth, and not real easy even to see who was carrying that, but there's a familiar number, 34. That's Mike Sarda, a sophomore, 5'10", 190 pounds from his middle linebacker position, instrumental in on that play, as were several other of the Geddes defenders.
He's a pretty well put together young man, isn't he? 5'10",
Yes, he is.
190.
Make a difference if it's offense or defense. He's around the football all the time. He's a good player.
Corey Sinkler and Mike Moore are the ends. Lauren Benedict and Ron Derry the guards. Russ Lauritsen is the center, with Dwayne Hall the quarterback. In the backfield, Horseman, Gardner, Kingsbury, and Long. And they give the ball on the left side, and good opening, at least momentarily, for Todd Long, who's been the workhorse here on the ground. And they get the ball out across the 10 to about the 13. That was about their original line of scrimmage, so it's fourth down. They're going to mark it at the 14-yard line. So 4th and 11. 10-16 to play in the first half. It's 12-0 our score. Let's check it again.
Yeah, it's just a little crossbuck. Looks like the play's starting to the offensive right, and it ends up going to the left. And they didn't fool anybody that time. That was a good defensive play by Geddes.
Clock moving, just under 10 minutes to play in the half now. And there is a flag, and too much time is taken. Delay of game penalty is going to be used against Wood, and that's going to make their punt just that much farther to travel.
Yeah, it sure is. And that, you know, maybe this is what Geddes needs to get back in the game here now. They've played very well on defense, and they've kept Wood in the hole. And they should get the ball somewhere on their side of the 50. So they may have a chance to get on the scoreboard here in this next series.
Well, they're going to run it 4th down and 16, a 5-yard penalty assessed. And again, Wood needing to punt. That's Dwayne Hall. He gets the punt away. It's a line drive type punt. Dan Sarda gets it at the 38 to the 35 and down to about the 31 or 2-yard line. And for the first time in the ball game, Geddes will have pretty good field position, Jerry, as they try to cut away that 12-0 Wood lead. 25-yard punt, so he didn't respond too well from deep in his own end zone or near his own end zone to punt that ball out of there.
Yeah, they've got only got 32 yards now to get on the scoreboard, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here in this series.
Quickly, is there any difference in punting or kickoffs in the dome climate?
Oh, I think maybe a little bit, yeah.
Bob Miller, the quarterback. Miller fumbles the ball momentarily, and that's going to cost him, although he does fall ahead for some yardage. He was at the 30, just short of the 31. Looked like he hesitated just a little bit, and there may have been a problem in the exchange from the center to the quarterback, although his momentum falling forward, which is coach likes to see a boy do.
You bet. That's called running north and south.
He fell to the 29.5-yard line. They pick up a couple. It's 2nd and 10 now with 9:20 to play in the half, and the clock is running. Bob Miller, the quarterback. Jay Johnson, the center. Pat Huggins and Rod Barkley are the guards. Ben Huggins and Mike Slava are on the ends. Back to pass is Miller. Puts the ball up in the end. He's got a man open, and he drops the ball. Mike Slava had it, looked like it was right there. One of the defenders, however, put a hand in his face, and that could have created the problem.
I think it screened him away from the ball.
Well, if he put it in his eye, all right, let's see if we're going to have that on the replay.
You see Barry Gardner. I think he was the one. Now Miller fades back. He's got some time, Jerry. Puts the ball in the air. There's the hand. That's, I think, what did it.
Yeah, I thought you meant he literally put it in his face. You can't do that. That's illegal. But he just was trying to knock the ball down.
Reaching for the ball.
Yeah.
So we've got a 3rd and 10 with 9 minutes to play in the first half. And Miller gets some pressure, screens it out on the side to Sarda. Dan Sarda's got some room, and he's going to be going down the sideline. Touchdown for Geddes.
3rd and about 11, and you wonder what they're going to run. And they scored almost on the same play that Wood scored the very first time, only it just happened to be a back out of the backfield in this series.
Let's watch it now.
We're going to replay here.
Miller
Heck of a block right there by number 55.
Dan Sarda with the block coming from Ben Huggins, his end, down the sideline. As we slow down for a moment, you
Great
see
block.
He had some.
Then he outlegged everybody there. Good speed.
Yeah, that was good play.
Mike Slava had the last shot at him and missed, and now it's a 12-6 ball game. And going in out on the right side for the two-point conversion. Geddes getting the touchdown, or the two-point conversion to make it 12-8.
A little variation of the old Statue of Liberty that time.
Except he's a lineman. He's a lineman, Jim.
He come off the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's John Sarda, and John going in for the two-point
conversion. He's only a ninth grader.
To make it 12-8. So the Geddes Rams are starting to show that they do in fact belong in the #1 ranking. 19 consecutive victories and a chance to be the only undefeated team, although we shouldn't say only undefeated, because as you pointed out, there were some one undefeated team that didn't make it here.
I think Rosholt was the only one that in 9-man that was undefeated. In fact, the only other undefeated team, and I believe they only played 8 games.
So now an opportunity for Geddes to kick off. Mike Sarda will be kicking off. And to return the kickoff, either Barry Gardner or Earl Brown. They're back deep.
This is the first time since 1948 that Geddes has gone undefeated. They've had a great season.
I'll tell you what, there's Sarda. He's kicking off. Boy, he does everything.
Taking at the 20 to the 25.
Plus he makes the tackle.
He was right in there as Barry Gardner, trying to bring the ball up across the 25, just does to the 28-yard line. So, and a little bit slow in getting up there. One of the Geddes defenders looked like it was a little hard. That's Pat Huggins. Yeah. Shaking it off.
It'll be interesting now to see if, Geddes has got a little momentum now. See if they can play as well defensively as they did in the last series and try and shut them down here.
Well, we've got 8:30 to play in the first half. 12-8. Wood has the lead after scoring 2 quick touchdowns. Now they're trying to get themselves back into it as the momentum seems to have changed. Dwayne Hall, a quick opener across the 30-yard line to the 31, and it was a nice play for Barry Gardner, a young man, a junior at 6'1" and 175 pounds. He rushed for 1,200 yards during the 11-game season, all victories for Wood. They put on 6 shutouts during this regular season.
I think maybe he rushed for 1,200, Jim, just during the regular season and had another 400 in the playoffs.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think if my mind serves me right in that article they had in the paper.
Jim, Roger Kingsbury, number 20, has come in apparently with a play.
There's a play on the shotgun. It comes to Gardner on the pitch from Hall, and he's out to the 39, and it's going to be short of a first down.
Tell you what, that Ben Higgins is he's just about as tough as they can be there for Geddes that time. He stayed right in there and forced 2 guys to block him and took a little pursuit to stop that play.
So with 7.5 minutes to play in the first half, we've got a 3rd and 1. And Wood, who scored the first 12 points, now has given up 8. And they'd like to get some momentum going into the second part of this second quarter. Dwayne Hall, the quarterback, on the keeper, trying to get the 1 yard. It's going to be close. He falls across the 40-yard line. As the officials now will be marking the ball, and Dwayne Hall on the keeper to the left side this time. It's marked, and it is a first down. So a break for the Bulldogs offense. Wood, number 2 ranked in the season. You've got to believe that they're number 2. They want to prove they're number 1. They're both of the small schools, obviously, with the 9A divisions. And that time, Dwayne Hall just says, boys, open a hole. I got to get a yard. And he did it. So it's first 12.5 across the 40 at the 41-yard line, still in their own territory. Wood leading 12-8. Dwayne Hall coming up to the line of scrimmage. Pitches back for a pass to Gardner. Gardner's got a man open, Sickler, but it's just beyond his reach.
A little bit of a halfback pass that time, Jim. That, I'll tell you, we've just in about a quarter and a half here, we've seen just about everything you can see from the I formation to spread formation with 2 receivers one way, 1 the other. We've seen the shotgun. We've seen a halfback pass in just a quarter and a half. That's awful good.
Creative, innovative football. We anticipate it to be a little different than last year's 6-0 championship game in the 9A. So far, 20 points have been put on the boards. If the 2 teams score their average, we'd have 90 points on the boards when it's all over. It's a 2nd and 12.5 now. And again, back to Gardner. They want to do the same thing again. He puts it up, and it's in and out and complete.
Completed.
I right. But probably not.
I don't know if we can keep track.
Well, there was a circus catch.
1, 2. There was at least 3 touches there, I think, Jim.
First down, Mike Moore ended up with it. Let's
All
look
right,
at
we're
it
going to
again.
see it on the replay now. I think 3 guys hit it, Jim.
First of all, watch this. It was
bounces on the turf.
Took a good bounce, a good pass.
1, 2.
Moore was the intended receiver.
There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. Maybe 4 times it got hit.
It went out of Moore's hands, back to a teammate, and then back to Moore. So now we've got a 1st and 12 in Geddes territory. Hall fakes, puts the ball in the air to Moore. He's hit as he catches the ball. He hangs on at the 38-yard line. A nice catch for Mike Moore.
That was a good
good hit.
Yes, it was, by number 32 that time.
You see him coming back, Eric Nordstrom.
Nordstrom, yes,
walking back
great
across.
hit.
That save, of course, the ball was thrown maybe not quite on the numbers. Let's take a look at it. There's the pass. He had to kind of reach back for it. Otherwise, he might have found himself some open field if he could have got outside. But Nordstrom
did a great job by hanging onto the ball that time.
He certainly did, because he was hit hard. Now it's 5:55 to play in the first half. Again to Gardner on the pass from Hall. He puts it out, and it's intercepted. There's an interception taken by Bob Miller, and Miller brings the ball back out to the 42-yard line.
Kingsbury on the interception, or excuse me.
No, that was Miller.
Bob Miller.
He's the quarterback, and he says, I want to get my hands on the football again so I can throw it. And that's exactly what he did as he made the interception from his defensive position, brings the ball back to the 42. Let's take a look at the interception. There's the tail end, and it was right to him.
Underthrown.
Good defensive play that time by Geddes. Now they got it in decent field position again, about 58 yards away here.
Jerry, the momentum swung a little bit the other way right now.
Sure has.
Miller wants to pass, puts the ball in the air, triple teamed and intercepted. And it's the quarterback on the other side playing defense that makes the interception, Dwayne Hall. So both quarterbacks throw interceptions to each other, and right now with 5:22 to play in the first half, the ball has switched sides again, and Wood has it at their own 39-yard line. Let's look at it. Wobbly pass, double and even triple team. Gardner was behind the intended receiver.
I think maybe
that was good defensive coverage.
Yeah, I think maybe that time Wood was probably in his own defense, and Gardner is a free safety, and he just came over right in front of the receiver and made the interception.
Intended for Mike Slaba, intercepted by Dwayne Hall, who now goes back to his quarterbacking offensive position. He feeds it out on the side. Coming to Todd Long on the left side. He's got some running room to the 40-yard line at the 45 and falls across the 45 to the 47. It's going to be close to a first down.
Jimmy stepped out of bounds at about the 43-yard line.
Back on the other side. All right, it was on the far side of the field, and a good run for Todd Long. 5'10", 160-pound junior. He moved out quickly, and Jim, you're right, it's at the 40, just across the 42-yard line, 4 yards short of a first down. So Wood with the ball with 5 minutes to play, and the clock stopped. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Wood is holding on to a precarious 12-8 lead right now. Russ Lawrence in the center, making the ball to Dwayne Hall on a 2nd and 4. Hall opening up the middle as he tries to squirm his way to the 45 and unable to do it.
Inside running for both teams, Jerry, has been shut off pretty good here.
That was Mike Moore.
Yes, they're both very good. Geddes has been playing 2 and 3 down linemen, plus the middle linebacker, so that's pretty tough for Wood to run inside, and Wood's been playing with 3 people, 1 on the nose and 2 on the guard most of the time, so and it's pretty difficult to run inside.
The championship of Class 9A on the line right now. 4:26 to play in the first half. And again, it's Mike Moore who busts across the line of scrimmage at the 45, maybe close to a first down at the 48-yard line. It is first down for Wood. So they did not want to have that drive stalled. They tried a couple of times with Mike Moore. The first time was negated. The second time, let's look at it as he gets the handoff.
They're straight ahead.
Straight ahead football, and he didn't get a lot of blocking. He just put his head down and moved out to the 48, first down.
I think Geddes, instead of having their nose man down that time, he was up, which helped.
He left a little bit of a seam there for him that he could squeeze through.
1st and 12, 4:05 to play in the first half. Wood with the ball and the lead. Again, they go straight up the middle. This time, however, it's to Todd Long again, who has carried a bunch of times already. And he's across midfield just into Geddes territory. These are the number 1 and 2 ranked teams in the state Class 9A poll. Wood is number 2. Geddes is number 1. Geddes has won 19 games in a row. 8 in a row last year, didn't make the playoffs. They've won 11 in a row this year, and a chance to make it 12 in a row. They'd like to do it, but Wood, who has won 11 in a row also this year.
Todd Long, 143 carries, 834 yards, almost 6 yards a carry this year.
And during the playoffs, he added enough to make 1,150 yards. That's Gardner, Barry Gardner, the junior running back who carries the ball for no gain into the line.
Again, that was a good play by Pat Huggins on defense there. He didn't make the tackle, but he's the guy that slowed him up and forced him back into the inside.
3:09 to play in the first half. 3rd down and 9 right now for Wood, who has carried the ball into Geddes territory. Wood has the lead, 12-8. They've got the ball in a 3rd down situation. Dwayne Hall trying to move things in this 9-man formation to Todd Long, who tries the left side. There's a block ahead of him, but Sarda's there to make the tackle. Busting through and making a great play on that from his middle linebacker position was sophomore Mike Sarda, 5'10" and 190 pounds. You see him there in the middle of your screen, and folks, that was a good defensive play.
Number 32, Eric Nordstrom, also in on the tackle.
Okay, we're going to see it on the replay now. Nordstrom also is in there.
A good opportunity here for Long. It looked like he was going to get the line turned, but you see, they front and backed him. It was Nordstrom who came in from the front, but it was number 34, middle linebacker Mike Sarda, who stopped him.
Interesting to see if they really punt this time. Yeah, they are
going to punt, and it's a good punt. It's going to carry, although there's not a lot of coverage. It's taken at about the 17 to the 20 and across to the 25-yard line. Not a lot of return. Good opportunity, but it didn't look like Geddes took quite as much advantage of that as they might have on a return.
Well, it was wasn't a real long punt, but it was very high.
There's timeout on the field with 2 minutes and 36 seconds to play in the first half. The score is Wood 12 and Geddes 8.
Why do so many people use Jackrabbit lines? Because riding with us is the most economical way to travel. Go all across the state for under $40, or from here to either coast for less than $140. For large groups, our charter buses will take you wherever you're going affordably. And when you need to send something in a hurry, rest assured our Package Express will get it there overnight.
Why do so many people use Jackrabbit lines? Because we go everywhere in South Dakota. Enjoy the games.
At Southwest State University in Marshall, Minnesota, we'll open doors to your successful future.
I didn't realize how well Southwest State University had prepared me for the work world until I was on the job. I was ready.
The complexities of modern business can be overwhelming. Thanks to SSU, I'm on top of things.
Southwest State University, a quality education at an affordable cost.
Second quarter, Wood 12, Geddes 8. 2 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in the first half, and Jerry Miller coaching fundamentals right now. Would you put it up for grabs, or would you, if you were Geddes, would you try to move it conservatively and just work it down when you got time?
No, I wouldn't. I'd just try and work it down the field, but I'm not very smart either. That's why I'm setting up here.
Miller passing the ball out on the side, complete to Dan Sarda, and Sarda goes across the 30, and they're marking at the 32-yard line is where Sarda was finally stopped on that little pass out on the left. He was hit going down and passed.
I know, like I said, I wouldn't put it up, but I said that's why I'm not very darn smart. I'm sitting here, and they're out there playing. That was just a little screen. That wasn't very much of a chance pass, however. You know, that's a very easy pass to complete, and chances
less than 2 minutes to play. And there's a kind of an option. They tried one guy on the side and came back on the other side, and
from the end is what it
pretty good
is,
move.
Jim.
You bet it is, and it was a good play.
Little reverse handoff that time.
That was
reverse handoff.
John Carta this time. He faked to one man, went the other, and John Carta took their Sarda. I did the same thing you said you were going to do. I didn't mark him. And John Sarda carries that ball moving across the 30, 35, 38-yard line is where they mark it, where it'll be first down with 1:33 to play in the first half. And Geddes trying to move the ball into the end zone. It's 12-8, they trail. Miller wants to pass, ducks under what might have been a sack and makes some yardage despite the fact that he wasn't able to get the ball away. It was a good defensive play that time for the Wood defense because he had himself some room, but Kurt Rowe, a 5'11 junior, 160 pounds, grabbed his jersey, no tearaway jerseys at Geddes High School, and he's down at the 40, just across the 40. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Clock moving with just over a minute to play in the half.
Tearaway jerseys are illegal anyplace now.
And we got a situation with time running out where Bob Miller wants to get something moving along, and he does, but he bounces it in front of John Sarda. So trying to put the ball in the air, he moved it a little too quickly. Sarda had some room, but there's a timeout on the field with 51 seconds to play in the first half. Geddes wants to talk about it. The score is Wood 12 and Geddes 8 for the Class 9A championship in South Dakota.
I think the people really make a difference at Northwestern.
They always smile, they always say hello.
It's a very friendly atmosphere, and that goes a long way.
If I want service, I get it. And that's what I get from Northwestern Bank.
I think they're constantly looking for new ways to serve the customer.
They're on my side, and I'm on their side.
That's right. Northwestern's working with me. The team is made up of people, and I've got good people on my side.
We're on your side.
I do believe that, yeah.
Northwestern Bank.
Geddes coach Mel Fathke will be visiting with Gary Weckworth at halftime just before they go to the locker room. So we'll be going down on the sidelines, and Gary has been patrolling down there trying to make sure that he picks up any information that we may miss up here between Jim Burt and Jerry Miller. I can't imagine how much we could possibly miss. There's been a lot of action and a lot of activities going on already in the first half. We're down to the last 51 seconds. It's been probably less scoring than we thought. There's been a couple of turnovers. Interceptions on both sides, but Geddes now has the ball and the opportunity to go 60 yards in 51 seconds to try to take the lead.
Now they're going to have 3 wide receivers to one side, Jim.
Everybody rolling out right, it looks like. Shotgun formation. Miller gets a big rush, and he's going to be sacked. And I mean double sacked. Back at the 22-yard line. He was really snowed under.
That's called the very best pass defense you can have is a good rush, and they had 5 of them going that time, Jim.
Mike Moore was one of them. Let's take a look at it again. And also
5 guys coming.
You also see Corey Sinkler. Here they come, and there's just nobody. Sinkler, he's number 81, and Moore number 80. The two of them were able to get to him with very little interference. So that's the situation. The clock stopped with 42 seconds remaining in the first half of the ball game. It's at the 25. 4th down and 25. And now, instead of having some kind of options here, they're going to have to go one play for first down to the 25. Just well throw it up in the air and see what can happen. But with 42 seconds, if they don't move the ball too far, that's going to give Wood an opportunity, Jerry.
Well, I think they have to punt here. There's no way they can go for this. If it was the last play of the game, they certainly would be going for it. But they have to punt here. They can't give them the ball any closer than they'd like.
And there's what's going to happen is Dan Sarda will be punting from about his own 15. A line drive kick. Dwayne Hall takes it and fumbles it. And the ball but it bounces true to him and then is fumbled again, but is covered by Wood. So Wood will have the ball at the 40 with 33 seconds. One thing with this turf, the ball does bounce pretty true as a football, as odd-shaped as it is, can possibly bounce. It was Earl Brown who saved it.
It'll bounce the other way too, Jim. It doesn't. I think what it does is it bounces better here than it does on regular turf, but you don't know which way it's going to bounce. Doesn't really make too much difference.
Clock is moving. There's the punt. You see it coming down, a good high spiral. Hall fumbled it off his knee, chased it down. The ball bounces up into his arms. He's tackled. The ball is loose and covered nicely by Earl Brown. He was right on top of him. Into the middle of the line they go to their fullback, Todd Long.
Flag on the play.
Probably have a holding in there again this time, Jim.
Flag is down. The ball was carried out across the 45. It's holding on Wood. 12 seconds remaining. It was a 1st and 12 and a half. 12 and a half yards to go for the first down in the 9-man football. We've got 4 games, actually 4.5 games, plus about 12 seconds before all the 5 champions are crowned. 179 schools in all, Jim Burt, participated in the football playoffs.
That's right, Jim. 110 in 11-man and 69 in 9-man play. Dupree chose not to participate in the playoffs this year. Canastota did not play football at all. Dupree, Conde, and Battle did not complete a full schedule.
The clock is moving. They give the ball to Long. Long breaks across the 30-yard line. The clock is rolling down, and there's the gun to sound the end of the half. It's halftime at the Dakota Dome in Vermillion with the score. the Wood Bulldogs 12 and the Geddes Rams 8.
Introducing a new natural choice from Terrace Park, the Gallon 2-Pack. The convenience of a gallon container with the vitamin-protecting goodness of paper. Pick up a Terrace Park Gallon 2-Pack today and enter our 2-Pack sweepstakes. You could win a kitchen full of Whirlpool appliances or one of 55 other valuable prizes. See details at your grocer's dairy case. The Gallon 2-Pack from Terrace Park, a natural part of your life.
Energy, the theme of the 1982 World's Fair. Speed Quick, the only washer and dryer featured at the World's Fair energy-saving house. The only top-loading washer with a stainless steel tub and a gas dryer with an energy-saving pilotless ignition. Speed Quick, the only washer and dryer featured at the World's Fair energy-saving house. Put an energy-saving Speed Queen in your home today.
See Brody's Appliance in Sioux Falls, Dale's Firestone in Flandreau, and A1 Appliance in Sioux Falls.
I'm with Coach Malfatti of Geddes. Fourth quarter, or second quarter, there's 45 seconds left. You took a timeout. You spread 3 guys on the wide. You left a lot of open space in the middle of the block, and you got sacked. Was that your intentions?
No, the receivers, we're going to try to send 2 guys long. One receiver's supposed to go out to the flat, and he went too far, and our blocking broke down on it.
Any changes in the second half?
We just got to control the line of scrimmage. We're going to come right out of him. We're going to run it at him and try to use our power there at running backs.
All right, good enough, Coach. We'll let you go. Thanks a lot. We'll set upstairs. Jim?
All right, first half is history. 12-8 is the score. Wood with the lead over Geddes. Jerry Miller, a lot of speculation was made in these games, especially this one, with these 2 teams being undefeated. The fact that it would be wide open football. Anything different? You already commented that there was a lot of wide open football, but anything that might have surprised you?
Well, I think the fact that, you know, both teams, even though they're averaging over 40 points a game, you know, if you look at what they've done as far as defense, Wood has not given up like 2 or 3 points a game, and I believe Geddes is something like 7 or 8 points a game. So I think both their defenses definitely have something to say about this football game. And sometimes we get carried away and we look at that offense, and that supposedly the offense sells tickets, but you know, that defense is the one that's going to win the football games for you. And even though we've had a lot of wide open football this first half, both teams have played very, very good on defense, and I think whoever the superior one is on defense is probably going to come out on top.
Let's take a look at the season records for these 2 teams. The Wood Bulldogs with an 11-0 record. As you follow that down, they won 11 games, starting out with a shutout, and along the way they had 6 shutouts. Look at all those zeros. No wonder they averaged less than 3 points a game given up defensively, and giving up 14 points to Wolsey to come to the championship. With a record of 11-0, they averaged 48 points offensively and less than 3 points defensively. On the other hand, the Geddes Rams, though they did not have any shutouts, as you look down there, they still gave up an average of only 10 points a game and scored 42. They had a high of 66 in the second game of the year against Fairfax, whereas if you remember back on the other side, Wood scored 73 points against Herald and 75 against Crow Creek the very next week. So we have some high-powered, explosive offensive teams and some pretty stingy defenses as well.
Jerry, it's apparent that it isn't making any difference to these 2 teams here this afternoon, but we are wondering, some 9-man teams play fields of only 80 yards long and 40 yards wide, where our regular football field for 11-man play is 100 yards long, 53 1/3 yards wide. Do you think those that may play 80 yards and 40 yards, when they hit the larger field, is going to have any kind of an effect on them at all?
Well, I think any team that has a lot of speed and they like to run to the outside, it is to their advantage because the field's going to be wider. So I think maybe both coaches' comments before that they talked about they wanted to run wide if they could, you know, I think that probably has something to do with it. And I'm not real sure if both Geddes and Wood played on 80-yard fields or not. I'm not sure about that. But I know that most of them do. And I think, you know, the only difference is that I think if you've got the speed, it is to your advantage to be on a wider field.
want to point out also and remind the viewers that in 9-man football, it is not 1st and 10. It's 1st and 12.5 yards to go. I don't know how they ever arrived at 12.5 or why it couldn't have been 12 or 13, but they arrived at 12.5 in the rules.
Well, I can tell you, Jim, you know, back in 02 when I was in high school, I played 6-man football, and it was 1st and 15. So when they went to 8 and 9-man, they just split the difference. And the difference between 10 and 15 is 2.5, Jim.
Is that the way it works?
So I'm sure that's how they come up with that number.
Jerry, I have a question looking at it as a coach. From your standpoint, I was reading the comments of Leo Lennick from Wood, who said, I think my kids are going to be awestruck when they come in the dome. What is it in terms of changing from one field to another? How much real difference is there from a home field to a visiting field or to a neutral site like this one?
Well, you know, this is not a normal neutral site. I think the fact that I know the first time we played down here, I had 3 or 4 kids that wanted to know how many tons of hay you could get in this place. You know, that they couldn't believe how big it was, and they all thought they could kick the football high enough to hit the roof. And I think it takes a while if you haven't been here before. I think it takes some time, even when you walk in here. You look at, if you're down at one end and you look at the other end with it all being enclosed, it looks like it's down there about 3 blocks instead of just 1 block, you know.
It was kind of enjoyable to watch that young man eating his cotton candy in relative peace despite the chill outside, despite the possibility of moisture. That's exactly what the dream, I know when I first met Carl Miller, Jim Burton, talking to him about the dream of this Dakota Dome. That's exactly what he was thinking about for not only college football, but also to provide a spectacle for high school football championships.
There were a lot of people put in a lot of work for many years in the culmination of this, in the realization of the Dakota Dome. And there is a pretty good crowd on hand for this 9A championship game this afternoon. Even though the dome is quite spacious, seat about 12,000, I suppose, for football. But taking into consideration the roads and the recent weather we've had, there is a good crowd that has gathered here this afternoon. And as the fans saw a moment ago, the sign, "Welcome to Vermillion, the football capital of South Dakota." And I guess in the couple of days here that we have the 5 championship games, it could very well be called the Vermillion, or the capital of South Dakota. The Vermillion Chamber of Commerce, the university, has been most cooperative to everybody, and they're certainly a great host. We have the halftime stats ready now, and Jim, take a look at those.
Well, Jerry, you can help me with these as we go down there. First downs, probably not a major factor right now, but the yards rushing, -5 for Geddes. And here's a team that's kind of lived and died by the rush.
Well, I think a couple of times there they got, you know, Wood has lived by the rush also, and they only have 60 yards. So you take a couple of big plays that Wood made defensively against Geddes, I think that's where the minus yardage comes up.
Okay.
So if you didn't have that, you know, you're talking about 60 yards and 20 or 30 yards.
And the penalties certainly hurt Geddes along the way, stalled some drives, turnovers. We saw exactly about 13 seconds apart, turnovers from one quarterback to the other quarterback who was playing a move to a defensive position on an interception. And the time of possession, not necessarily significant at this point. It's not that big a difference, 13:48 to 10:12 for Geddes.
Total yards, 150 to 35 is the big difference right there.
Well, you know, we were just talking before about how explosive both these offenses are, and I think those stats tell you right there that the reason both these teams are here is not only because they're great offensively, but they're both awful darn good on defense, because now Woods only got 150 yards, and they're used to having 1 or 2 of their backs having 150 yards apiece, you know, for the whole game. So both teams are playing very, very well defensively, and I don't think we can say that their offense has not performed. I think maybe it's both defenses that have performed very well.
Jerry, I thought in the beginning, prior to the start of the game, that the team that could come up with the best defense and hold the other team to as few yards as possible will probably be the ultimate winner. And both teams at times have shown great swarming defense, and they've performed very well. And I think that's going to be the key to the whole thing.
Well, you know, I mentioned that before, and I'm kind of a believer that way too. You know, offense, you know, they always say offense sells a lot of tickets, but defense is the one that's going to end up winning the game. And I think the second touchdown that Wood got, they got that maybe because of a mistake that was made by Geddes, but I think mostly it was a great defensive play on their part.
Let's take a timeout. We're here at halftime. The Class 9A championship being decided here in the Dakota Dome in Vermillion with the score, Wood 12 and Geddes 8.
Acid and metal just don't mix. Combustion acids build up in worn-out engine oil and can rob you of 60 hours of engine life in just 3 weeks. Changing old oil with fresh Cenex Super Lube 518 multi-grade helps prevent corrosion and protects engine parts through months of storage. Cenex Super Lube 518 multi-grade. It protects as well in the shed as it does in the field.
Cenex is the country way, 'cause Cenex is you.
Yesterday morning I came out here and there wasn't a chicken in this coop. But there sure were chickens everywhere else. And after a day of chasing them over the fields and under fences, I wondered why I ever left the city. So last night I called my old roommate. And you know what? 10 minutes later, I'm thinking life for the chickens is pretty darn good.
A long-distance visit with someone special. It costs so little. 10 minutes almost anywhere in the country under $3.
Sometimes it helps to get away for a while.
The South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in cooperation with the South Dakota High School Activities Association.
We're back live at the Dakota Dome at the University of South Dakota in Vermillion. This is Jim Bird along with Jim Thompson and Jerry Miller bidding you welcome, and let's go now back to our studios to Ken Hirsch and Fred Hertz. You're going to have some very interesting first half highlights. See just exactly how the scoring went on those 3 touchdowns that were scored. Gentlemen?
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We didn't see the scoring fireworks that we were expecting here in the first half. As you already know by now, it's 12-8 with Wood leading Geddes at the half. To begin the ball game, Geddes could not get the ball rolling. They did take possession. They took the opening kickoff. But let's pick up the highlights after that. Wood, on their first possession, did manage to move with a 37-yard pass play to number 81, Corey Sinkler. It set up the theatrics, if you want to call it that, for the first touchdown, and here it is. Barry Gardner took this swing pass from Dwayne Hall. It was a 29-yard run for number 25 to put Wood on the board 6-0. The 2-point conversion failed, and that's the way the score stood. It was about 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Well, Geddes still couldn't get going. They had to punt the ball as they were still unable to get their first down. And the return for Wood was again a very good one. Number 60, Lauren Benedict, blocked a punt on the 2-yard line to set up the second touchdown for Wood. It looked at first like he would have gone in on that blocked punt, but it took the next play, quarterback Dwayne Hall, with about a 1-yard plunge. And that's the way the first quarter ended, Wood leading Geddes by a score of 12-0. Well, Geddes tried to change that momentum in the second half. Here's Bob Miller throwing to Dan Sarda with just under 9 minutes to play in the half. A 30-yard swing pass that made it 12-6. And Geddes having a little bit more success on their conversions with a 2-point conversion. John Sarda taking it in virtually unopposed to make it Wood 12 and Geddes 8. Ball exchanged several times the rest of the first half, but that was the end of the first half with Wood leading number 1 ranked Geddes by a score of 12-8. Perhaps we'll see more of the fireworks in the second half. But I think the momentum and some of the first half play is reflected in what has to be the best or most unusual play of the ball game. Watch this pass. It's tipped, it's bounced, it's bobbled, and Mike Moore, number 80, hangs onto it for Wood. That's kind of indicative of that first half of action. So at the halftime, again, Wood leading Geddes by a score of 12-8. We'll have the full game highlights at the end of the game. So let's go back to our sports crew at the Dakota Dome.
You know, almost everywhere I ride, I've got a friend. My Instant Cash Banking Center hands me cash wherever I am. And at my own bank, I can make deposits, loan payments, transfer funds between checking and savings. I got friends like this all over. Always a convenience, sometimes a downright necessity.
Instant cash. See your Northwestern Bank. Thank you, friend.
We're back live at the Dakota Dome at the University of South Dakota in Vermilion, where the second half of the 9A championship game is about to unfold with the score Wood 12 and Geddes 8. So look for some fireworks here in the second half, Jim Thompson.
Well, Jim, this Dakota Dome, a beautiful sight for football. The Geddes Rams were rated number 1 on the season, and the Wood Bulldogs are rated number 2. I always really hesitate, Jerry, when I start wanting to talk to a coach about theories and about what do you say in the locker room. But you can believe there's a lot of people at home who are watching, and a lot of people even here who are saying, all right, these two high-powered teams, they come up against some tough defense now. What kind of things do you do to inspire your team? Would you need anything artificial when you've got a game like this and the surroundings that we have?
Well, you know, Jim, I don't believe there's really anything that's really artificial when it comes to any time you try and inspire your kids. You're trying to tell them whatever you think will motivate them, and whatever is best for the situation, you know, whether you happen to be ahead 12-8 or you happen to be behind. And I think that, you know, we're talking about both these high-powered teams. They are very high-powered teams. They are very good. And I'm just kind of smiling up here. Everybody would probably like to see him run up and down the field 10 times, but I still like to see that good defense, and that's definitely what we've seen in the first half.
Also, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people making editorial comments about the fact that just because one team loses does not mean that they're a loser, particularly. And though it sounds almost one of the arguments against the playoff system is that if you don't have playoffs, then you have a lot of people who can say we're number 1. This pretty well cinches who's number 1, and we've got 2 quarters of football to try to prove that. The kickoff by Mike Sarda is loose on the field, and Geddes has come up with it. It was right through the hands of Todd Long. He had the possibilities, but was not able to get it. Let's take another look.
Just couldn't find a handle.
The kick from Mike Sarda.
Just couldn't quite get the handle.
You see Long, who was out in front, and the other returner was Earl Brown at the 20-yard line, and it was picked up by Geddes, and a break for Geddes as the Rams, trailing throughout the football game. They were down 6-0, 12-0, and now 12-8, have the ball in good field position at the 22-yard line.
Truck is a part of every day, a part of living life our way. On the run, having fun, always so much to do, always something big waiting for me and you. Coke is it, the biggest taste you ever found. Coke is it, the one that never lets you down. Coke is it, the most refreshing taste around. Coke is it, Coke is it.
Executive Lease offers a practical way of transportation. If you have to transport a group of people, do it the smart way. Instead of taking several vehicles, why not just take one vehicle? Executive Lease offers 8, 12, and 15 passenger vans for rent on a daily basis. These vans are loaded with all the pleasant options such as stereo, dual air, and heat. Next time you have a group of people to transport, remember, we've got the keys at Executive Lease, a division of Duke Tufte Company, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Let's go back now to live action with 11 minutes and 52 seconds to play, third quarter. Geddes on the turnover on the kickoff, has the ball, 1st and 10 at the Wood 22-yard line. Bob Miller swinging it out on the side to Dan Sarda. Sarda is going to be piled up. Good pursuit, lateral pursuit on the right defensive line, but a pickup of a couple of yards nonetheless.
And, you know, that's exactly what the coach from Geddes said he wanted to do. He wanted to just take the ball and try and run the ball down the field, and he started with that little pitch outside, and they ended up getting about 2 yards, so it'll be kind of interesting now to see if they come back to their right or if they try and go straight down the field.
Well, they've got the wide side of the field to the right now. It's 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line in Wood territory. Miller, they do go right, but not much, and again, it's to Dan Sarda, just off over right guard, maybe to the 18, 19-yard line, something like that. Short yardage. It's going to be 3rd down and about 9. From the 19-yard line, it's where it's marked.
Kurt Rowe and Lorne Benedict on the tackle that time. Good hit.
Good defense. 3rd and about 9.
10:51 to play, third quarter. Wood with the lead, Geddes with the ball, and a chance to take the lead if they can score. And there's a flag. One of the defensive linemen jumping offsides. Well, that's going to simplify somewhat, at least, the possibility of a first down run now for Geddes.
Might explain, Jim, all they have to do is break the plane. They don't have to make contact.
No, all they have to do is just break the plane, the tip of that football, and it's a 5-yard penalty.
Kurt Rowe is the young man that the officials called. They called his number 30, jumping off sides from his right guard position. Ron Derry and Dennis Meyer have been moving on the other guard position with Mike Moore and Corey Sinkler, the defensive ends. There's a fumble, but it's still, his knee was on the ground. That was Bob Miller. And again, you might explain that, Jerry, what happened. He was able to come up with the ball and pitch it out.
Well, the ball bounced on the ground, but when he picked it up, he had his knee on the ground, so that's where it has to be down now.
And it's a bad break for them because they had a pretty good opportunity, and now they wasted down. Fourth down at the 16-yard line. 4th and 6, 10:20 to play third quarter. The lead belongs to Wood, but the ball and the momentum belongs to Geddes. And the Rams, top-rated and undefeated in the last 19 games, trying to put some points on the board. Miller to pass. The ball is up in the air and intercepted. It was deflected and intercepted. It was Todd Long on the interception who brings the ball out short of the 20-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a great block right there by Ron Drury also.
Todd Long, number 42. Let's take a look at the ball.
Okay, we'll see that on the interception, I'm sure.
It was 4th down.
Drury right here. It's going to be a great block right here.
It was Dwayne Hall who tipped it up.
Right there. It's a great block.
Eric Nordstrom, who is wearing a knee brace on that left leg, is limping.
Let's watch that in another angle now. A little bit different perspective on that pass interception. Dwayne Hall caused the ball to be tipped up, and then it was Long who intercepted it. Back live to the Wood Bulldogs, and Ron Gardner carrying the ball. Remember, they were short of the 20 at about the 18-yard line, and Gardner moves the ball out to the 24-yard line. So he picked up about 6. It'll be 2nd and 6. Clock moving with 9.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter.
Jim, we're pointing out that Nordstrom is staying in the game, although he came up limping. He's wearing a brace on that left knee, so apparently he's re-injured it slightly.
He's the defensive back. Hall to pass. Lobs the ball out to Corey Sinkler. It's complete. First down to the 36-yard line.
Tell you what, that Sinkler runs his pattern awful well.
I believe. Let's find out from our statistician exactly. I think that's only the second catch that Corey Sinkler has made, and let's take a look at that.
Both of them were big plays.
I bet they were.
Well thrown ball, Jerry.
You bet it was.
Dwayne Hall puts it right where he wants it, away from the defender and to the hands of the receiver. Nice catch.
Should be back live now in about the first down on the 35.
Corey Sinkler, 6'3", 193 pounds. And again, they give the ball over the middle, and diving is Todd Long. It looked like he was going for a first down at the goal line that time. He moves the ball out to about the 38-yard line.
Be second down at about 10 now, Jim.
8:56, clock moving in the third quarter. The crowd excited, and despite the fact that the weather has not been to everyone's advantage to get here, we got a good crowd on hand at the Dakota Dome for game 1 of 5 championship football games to be played. Hall, they got a double reverse coming back, and Gardner is in trouble and sacked. Huggins was one of the guys that got him at the 30.
Well, that's that's a good defense again. They had a reverse going there that time, and Geddes came off hard. Jay Johnson and Ben Huggins were the two guys that made the good defensive play there.
Let's watch it now, because on the reverse, Todd Long and then Barry Gardner, and Gardner having to run. There you see Huggins on one side, number 55, and number 52, Jay Johnson on the other. So it's third down and long from the shotgun, retreating to the 20. Hall is under a rush, has some room, now is going to be hit as he tries to scramble back to the line of scrimmage, unable to do it.
Bill Miller again. That was a good defensive play. Open field tackle.
Very good pass coverage.
So it's 4th down and 14. A punting situation for Wood. 7:45 remaining in the third quarter. 4th down and 14.
Jerry, neither team has been able to get out or any sustained drive of any consequence.
No, and I think it's real important for Wood here now that they get off a good kick and get it covered real well to keep good field position.
It's Dwayne Hall to punt, and the punt is fielded at the 37-yard line by Sarda. Out to the 50. Across midfield, there's a flag down as he goes out of bounds at the 44-yard line in Wood territory. But there was a flag thrown right at midfield. And Bob Miller looking a little dejected back there. So it is a penalty charge against Geddes. It will negate an otherwise good return.
Clipping penalty, Jim.
Right there on number 80, number 32 there. Had to clip. You know, Geddes does an awful good job of returning kicks. You know, I wouldn't be a bit surprised here to see them really get one going. They've returned about 3 now, and you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Foul, clipping, number 34.
Get somebody on the outside, they might be able to return it.
All right, Geddes will have the ball, but not in nearly as good field position as they had once thought. They were at the 44. The penalty takes it back to the 35 in their own territory. 7:15 left, third quarter. The give-off comes into the middle of the line to Mike Sarda. Mike is a sophomore, and he goes across the line of scrimmage to the 38-yard line, picked up about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 as we've gone under 7 minutes now to play in this third quarter. 12-8, Wood holds on to the lead. Both teams have had opportunity. We've seen the momentum switch. A defense will soften and then stiffen up again, and right now it is anybody's ball game yet, but Wood has the advantage of a 4-point lead. Bob Miller, the senior quarterback, calling the signal. Giving off on the side to John Sarda on the left side, and John Sarda just struggles forward to near 40 to the 45-yard line.
He's a 9th grader.
He sure is. John is 6'1", 170 pounds.
I might have to check those 3 kids out, see if they'd like to move Sioux Falls, Jim. As good as they are, holy cow.
Clock moving, 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play third quarter. Wood with the lead, but Geddes has the football at their own 45-yard line, where it's 3rd down and 3 yards to go. Bob Miller with Nordstrom, Sarda, and Sarda in the backfield. In fact, 3 Sardas rotating in there, and this time the give is to Dan Sarda, who keeps rolling across into Wood territory. Finally is tackled deep in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, across to the 37-yard line. It'll be 1st down for Geddes deep in Wood territory. Let's take a look at this.
I'll tell you what,
Bulldog run.
That was a great individual effort.
He didn't quit.
Good leg drive there, Jerry.
You bet, it sure was. He had some good blocks also up front, and some good blocks by the 2 lead backs.
I said Bulldog. I shouldn't have used that term. That's the Wood Bulldogs. I meant tenacity, and that's what he showed on that play. Sarda, we're talking about. John Sarda in motion. They give the ball off to Mike Sarda with a flag down. Mike Sarda is free to the 30-yard line and tackled out on the far side of the field, but there is a flag down with 5:40 to play in the third quarter.
I'm sure this time, Jim, they're going to call it on John Sarda was going forward when the ball was snapped that time. Kind of looked like it anyway.
The flag was thrown in the backfield, and they are discussing that situation right now with the Wood team captains. And the Geddes team obviously anticipating that, walking back now into their own end of the field. Let's go down on the field. Gary Weckworth has got an injury report as we look at this instant replay.
For Geddes, number 32, Eric Nordstrom, has been hobbling on his knee. As you can see, he's been wearing a knee brace. And I guess he tore cartilage in that knee 2 years ago and has had surgery twice on it. So he will sit out for a couple of minutes, but he will be back. That's what he says. We'll send him back upstairs.
All right, number 32, Eric Nordstrom, 5'11", 180-pound junior for Geddes. One of their backfield men. The ball is pitched out to Dan Sarda, wide side of the field to the 40. He's free at the 35 and the 30-yard line to the 25 and rolled out of bounds. At the 23 is where they roll him out in a good play for Dan Sarda, a 5'10", 165-pound junior.
I'll tell you what, his brother, Mike Sarda, that time was the guy that got the key block. That was a good run. Good block right there.
Yep, you saw the block and some good speed. He was able to leg it outside and finally pushed out of bounds and saved by Mike Moore, the left end.
He doesn't have a bad stiff arm either, Jerry.
No, he doesn't.
1st down and 12. And Geddes with a 12-8 deficit, trying to move ahead in the ball game, short of the 20-yard line. Bob Miller, the quarterback, giving it off to John Sarda. Sarda is free for a moment and tackled a good play outside, and a good move that time for Todd Long, number 42.
Maury Sinkler missed a good shot at him for about a 4 or 5 yard loss, and he spun away from Sinkler.
It's going to be a little bit of a loss anyway, Jim, not much. A couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 14. Clock is moving with 5 minutes to play third quarter. Wood with the 4-point lead they have maintained throughout the entire second half. In fact, throughout much of the second quarter. 12-8 is the score.
Could be
Wood
a pass
with the lead.
this time. They took a little time in the huddle.
Here, and Geddes with the ball. They pitch it out to Mike Sarda. And Mike Sarda, trying to roll outside, is strung along until he finally does have to turn inside and is tackled. For a short gain, it was Mike Piper. Mike Piper is the tackler that time at the 20. It's 3rd down and 10.
We'll report a crowd of 1,200 here this afternoon for the game, which is not bad at all considering
I'll tell you what, I guarantee you
smaller communities playing and the way the roads are.
I'll guarantee you everybody from Geddes and Wood is here.
You bet. And a few more.
You saw the replay that showed Mike Sarda being pulled down by Piper. Now it's a 3rd and 10 from the 20. The ball swung out to Dan Sarda. Sarda is going to be hit badly and in the backfield for a loss. Some good moves defensively that time.
Kirk Rowe that time made a good defensive play.
Number 30, a 5'11", 160-pound junior. And it's a 4th down coming with 3:55 to play in the 3rd quarter. Let's take another look at it. Swinging it out to Dan Sarda on the left side. He tries the stiff arm, but Kurt Rowe is not going to let that happen, and Mike Moore is right there to pull him down along with Corey Sinkler.
The Wood defense that time, Jerry, did a good job of shredding the interference.
You bet. And number 30, Kirk Rowe, is a down lineman that made that tackle. He's a quick kid.
A right guard. Clock moving, 3.5 minutes left, 3rd period. It's a 4th and 13, and a flag of delay of game penalty charged against Geddes. They had the ball on the 23. That'll march it back. And so now they'll have another 5 yards to try to go. It'll be 4th and 18 with 3:25 to play 3rd quarter. Well, Jerry, this is the 2nd time now that Geddes has come down here in this 3rd quarter. They had good field position. One, a punt return was negated and moved back. This has got to be a little demoralizing for this team.
Well, the only thing that's good about it as far as Geddes is concerned is it keeps them in good field position, and it puts Wood in the hole all the time. It'll be interesting to see if they run that screen pass about now.
All right, with the 4th down, they roll it back.
Halfback pass.
And
look out.
In a lot of trouble, gets the ball away anyway, and it's complete for a 1st down. Oh, wow. Mike Slava was there to make the catch.
Unbelievable.
And Slava looks like he may be hurt.
And I'm not sure it's a 1st down, but it should be close.
Unbelievable.
We were screened out a little bit by some of those spectators. Let's take a look at it again. Now, you watch how close Mike Sarda is to being sacked, but he gets it away in a good pass.
Boy, he's a good athlete.
Mike Slava makes the catch and is...
See, he runs out of bounds just short of that 10-yard line, so it looks like it's 1st down the other way.
Son of a gun. A play turned over that quickly, and on a 4th and 18, they made it 17.5 yards. And so stepping out of bounds just a little too soon. The ball is given into the middle for the Wood Bulldogs, who now have the ball deep in their own territory and trying to protect a 4-point margin. Dwayne Hall, the quarterback. Jay Johnson on the tackle from his defensive guard position.
See, this is the thing that's kind of interesting now. Even though Geddes didn't get the 1st down or didn't score, Wood doesn't have very good field position, and they need to keep him down here in the hole. You never know who's going to make a mistake. 2.5
minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Not a lot has transpired on the scoreboard, but a lot on the field. A pitch back to Todd Long, right side. Todd Long, not much yardage out there. They just keep stringing him out, and he has no opportunity to be able to turn upfield.
Number 20 there made the tackle, but Ben Huggins is the guy that turned the play up. He's the guy that strung it out.
Bob Miller does about everything on that ball club, doesn't he?
Tell you what, there's a lot of good athletes out there on the field.
2 minutes, 12 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter. 12-8, Wood has the lead. And the ball, the Bulldogs with a 3rd and 9 from their own 14-yard line. Dwayne Hall, the junior quarterback, barking the signals. They give it straight up the middle for little yardage. Again, not much luck up the middle as Geddes senses the fact that they've got an opportunity to give it back. Barry Gardner, the junior running back, got the call, but it'll be a 4th and 7 from the 16-yard line. And a punting situation for the Wood Bulldogs. Dwayne Hall, who quarterbacks, is also the punter. And with the clock moving and just over 1.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, it looks like he'll have an opportunity. Somebody moving into the line for Geddes.
Yeah, they're still going to be 4th and about 2.
So the flag's thrown. It's not going to be enough for a 1st down. Does it change your strategy any from the 21 instead of the 16?
No, you wouldn't think it would.
Not in the 3rd quarter.
I think they were trying to get a rush on him that time.
So with 1:32, clock stopped on the penalty. Now the official saying the 4th and 2 and the clock starting for Wood. Again, Dwayne Hall will be standing on about his own 13 when he punts it. The snap is good, but it might have been deflected a little bit. It takes a bounce back for Geddes. It's touched and downed at the 36-yard line by Wood, but Geddes will have the ball in good field position.
Jerry, in punt situations for both teams, it seems the punters are not back far enough. They're not deep enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, probably neither one of these teams have probably punted over a handful of times all year long. And that's something that's maybe understandable. Plus, Geddes really had a good rush on. And I think probably in 9-man football, they're not going to be back no 13 yards.
1 minute remaining, third quarter. Bob Miller for Geddes. The give is into the line on the left side and out across to the 31-yard line. Sarda on the carry. Mike Sarda, 21 touchdowns during the year. 7 yards per carry is about what he averaged, and he moves the ball well. And he picked up about 5 that time.
I'll tell you what, that really be interesting to see some of these players in another year or two when they're juniors and seniors that are these young freshmen and sophomores. Some of them are really good.
Clock running down, less than a half a minute to play in the third quarter. Miller on the keeper. Fakes a pitch and keeps the ball to near the 20. It's a first down for Geddes deep in Wood territory. And a nice play by Bob Miller.
Good fake that time. Good fake on the pitch.
You bet.
Running the option.
Just enough to hold the end and the corner both. And he turned upfield.
Right there.
Great job.
That's a dangerous maneuver. You've got to have somebody who's got confidence in himself, and Bob Miller showing all the confidence he needed as you watch that play.
I'll tell you, number 86 had a key block on that, too. That was John Sarda, the freshman.
All right, here we come. Time running out in the third quarter. That's up in the backfield. And the mix-up is going to cost them an opportunity here in the third quarter, because that's the end of 3 quarters of play for the championship of South Dakota Class 9A football. The score with 3 periods complete. Wood 12 and Geddes 8.
Why do so many people use Jackrabbit lines? Because riding with us is the most economical way to travel. Go all across the state for under $40, or from here to either coast for less than $140. For large groups, our charter buses will take you wherever you're going affordably. And when you need to send something in a hurry, rest assured our Package Express will get it there overnight.
Why do so many people use Jackrabbit lines? Because we go everywhere in South Dakota. Enjoy the games.
Well, we're down to the last 12 minutes of football, and after 5 very close games last year, Jerry Miller, for the championship games, we're just duplicating it this year.
You bet, and hopefully they'll be like that all the time.
The ball is given to Sarda. Sarda moving the ball across the 20-yard line. It's going to be a third down as they move the ball to just short of the 15, to the 17-yard line. Third down and 8 as we're underway in the fourth quarter, and Geddes has been moving the ball. No scoring in the third quarter. We came into the half 12-8. We start the fourth quarter 12-8. Wood with the lead, but Geddes has the ball.
And they've had all the momentum. They've kept a good field position now, and that's really important at this stage of the game.
They've had some problems along the way. There's a pass back out on the side to Dan Sarda, and he is not going to get much luck. Faking downfield and then turning in a swing pass out on the side to Dan Sarda, and he lost it. So it's a fourth down, and the ball is back at the 21 where it'll be 4th and 12 where they started it.
Well, this again, they're in the same situation. They've been able to keep the good field position, but haven't been able to move the ball very well. First down or two they have, and then they've run into some problems.
All right, Bob Miller setting his offense now on a 4th down. Remember, the last time they had a 4th down on the other end of the field, there was 19 yards to go. They made 18 and a half of it. Miller from the shotgun gets a lot of pressure, lobbing the ball over to Miller, the middle to Dan Sarda. Dan Sarda is hit and will be short. We'll turn it over on down. Inside the 20, however, and another important situation for the Geddes defense as the Wood offense gets possession again.
It's kind of an inside screen, and they're trying to get everybody spread out. They had a lot of blockers, but Wood came up with a big defensive play again.
10 minutes and 37 seconds to play in the ball game. Let's check it again. Here's the way it developed. Right up the middle on the screen, as Jerry pointed out. Sarda moving the ball about 5 yards after the catch. Well, the ball belongs to Wood, and very quickly Todd Long bringing it out across the 20, 25-yard line is where he's finally tackled, and he looks like he may be coming up a little slow. Pat Huggins, you see him, number 50, the defensive guard, 5'11", 160-pound senior, and we have an injury there. Todd Long, who carried the football, number 42, a 5'10", 160-pound junior, 1,100-yard rusher during the regular season, is down kneeling on the 25-yard line after carrying the ball. Jim?
This is the first of 5 championship games to be played in the next couple of days here at the Dakota Dome at the University of South Dakota in Vermilion. At 7:30 tonight, it'll be Lennox and Belle Fourche playing for the Class 11 AA championship. And tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, Frederick will go against Gettysburg for the 9AA title. Class 11A will be at 5 o'clock tomorrow, Wagner against Hamlin. And the Class 11 AAA will be O'Gorman against Yankton.
Well, Todd Long, who you see being helped off the field there by his coach, Leo Lennick, has carried 12 times for 45 yards. He's the leading Wood rusher. This young man, maybe a knee or an ankle. He's down nonetheless and being helped off. He doesn't look like he's got a lot of problems right now, Jerry, but he rushed for 1,150 yards during the 11 games they played coming into this tournament.
I'll tell you what, they, both sides do a good job on defense. We talked about before, and I'm sure we'll see him back in.
Second down and 3, 10 minutes to play in the ball game. Wood has the lead. They've got the ball. Hall pitching it out. It's fumbled. That's going to be tough. It's going to be retained by Wood, but short of a first down.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Each team now on first down, they've gained some yardage, and then on second and third down, they've had some problems. We have a little bobble here. It's a little option.
Watch it again to Gardner. As Gardner not quite able to hang on to it like he would like to, but nonetheless, he kept possession, and that's important. Let's go down to Gary Weckworth and find out about the injury. Gary?
Todd Long, number 42, appears to have just been shaken up. He will return. We'll send it back up to you.
That's going to be important. 45 yards for Todd Long. He's not there now with 9.5 minutes to play in the game. Wood deep in their own end zone. The ball is intercepted, or in their own end of the field. It's intercepted.
Touchdown, no?
And carrying the ball deep to not a touchdown, but near the end zone for the Geddes team is Eric Nordstrom. A 5'11", 180-pound defensive back. Dwayne Hall throwing the ball out. It was intercepted by Eric Nordstrom, number 32. Let's watch it again as Hall rolls out to his left, throwing back across the grain, and he intended it to Mike Moore, but Nordstrom on the interception to the 20 and the 15. There is about where Jerry thought it was going to be a touchdown, but a good touchdown-saving tackle there for the Wood defense.
Hall's had a little trouble throwing short on several occasions.
Well, now an opportunity for Geddes. They want to go back across, and they give it to Sarda. Dan Sarda. They want to get into the end zone. They smell it. A chance to go ahead after being blunted on so many occasions in the last 2 quarters, and now into the third quarter with 8:55 to play in the ball game. The ball is down on the 2-yard line. Second and goal for Geddes. They trail 12-8. They have never led in the ball game.
I think it'd be safe to say that probably Sarda's going to get the ball.
I would say that's probably a true statement as they give into the middle of the line for Geddes. Touchdown! The Geddes Rams are into the end zone, and they have taken the lead 14-12. Prior to the extra point conversion attempt. You hear in the background the screaming, cheering fans for Geddes who have watched their team throughout the first half and into the second half. The give is to Mike Sarda, and Mike Sarda on the TD, 2 yards in with 8:38 to play in the ball game. 14-12. Geddes has taken the lead for the first time. 2-point conversion attempt is back to Sarda, and he will be stopped short of the goal line.
Boy, I'll tell you, though, he gets north and south.
He sure does.
He got down there, and instead of trying to run outside, he knew he didn't have a chance. He turned up the field, and he only come about a foot short.
With 8 minutes and 38 seconds to play in the Class 9A championship game, the score now is Geddes 14 and Wood 12.
At Southwest State University in Marshall, Minnesota, we'll open doors to your successful future.
I didn't realize how well Southwest State University had prepared me for the work world until I was on the job. I was ready.
The complexities of modern business can be overwhelming. Thanks to SSU, I'm on top of things.
Southwest State University, a quality education at an affordable cost.
What exactly is it?
Oh, you haven't heard? Smartest money idea in years.
Really? Tell me more.
Money Fund Checking. Gives you access to money market rates at a bank.
Money Fund Checking.
Lets you write checks, and all your money works full time.
Money Fund Checking at your bank?
Yeah. Come on.
Hey, what bank?
Money Fund Checking at your Northwestern Bank, the Money Center.
We have pointed out the knee injury to Eric Nordstrom, who's wearing a brace on the left knee. And he was the one that made that pass interception that led to the Geddes touchdown. We have word from the sidelines. They're just going to play him on defense from now on throughout the remainder of the game.
Mike Sarda's kickoff is taken by Earl Brown, who runs the ball out of bounds on the far side of the field. Let's take a look at that scoring drive that time for Geddes to go ahead. 2 plays, 6 yards, 42 seconds, capped by Mike Sarda's 2-yard run. The extra point conversion was no good, but the difference right now has been that each team has scored 2 touchdowns, but Geddes has completed 1 conversion attempt, and that makes it 14-12. Geddes with the lead, and with 8.5 minutes to play in the ball game, Wood has the ball back. They have been stymied offensively throughout the second half from the shotgun. Ball to pass. Lots of pressure. And he's getting more than he can handle. Breaks away, fumbles the ball, and it's picked up. And picked up by Todd Long, who runs it back to about where Hall fumbled it. Lots of mix-up in the backfield. It'll be at the 20-yard line.
Wood has had innumerable mishandling of the football, Jerry. Any particular reason for that?
Let's watch it and answer that while you watch.
I think maybe it's a good pass rush put on by Geddes again. You know, it's not so much the fact that he fumbled the ball, it's the fact he's got a lot of pressure on him. Then Long's smart enough to pick it up.
He circled back south, or north rather, however, that could have created some difficulties for him. 2nd and 25 out of the shotgun. The give is to Gardner. He's got to run wide as well, and he's got white shirts all over him, and he's dropped for a loss. 6 more yards down.
Ben Huggins, boy, I'll tell you.
There he is, big number 55, chasing him all over the field.
He turned to play, you know, he kept stringing it out to the side, and he may not have been the guy that made the initial shot, but he's the guy that put pressure on.
The clock continues to wind down. 7:21 left in the game. Still enough time for either side, but with 3rd and 31 now. For Wood, they're deep in their own territory. They need to bring the ball out to the 46-yard line for a first down, and they have it back at about the 16. 3rd and 31. 7 minutes left in the game, in the ball game. Gardner to pass, and under a lot of pressure is going to run the football. Huggins is one of the guys that is after him. Mike Slaba is the other one, and they wrap him up well short. He picked up a couple of yards, but he needed a bat. Give him 4 yards. It'll be 4th and 27. Clock moving with 6:40 to play.
I think they were trying to throw the halfback pass again, and he's trying to throw it. He just getting so much pressure that was put on him that time by number 86. I think that was John Sarda again.
Sarda.
And you know, just didn't have any time to throw the football.
Well, now a punting situation for Wood, and Geddes with a 14-12 advantage will have good field position again. Hall's punt is helicoptered to about the 42-yard line. It's picked up there by Dan Sarda, and the next Geddes offensive move will be from the 36. So it'll be first down at the 36-yard line for the Geddes Rams, holding a 14-12 lead.
Geddes has had good field position the entire second half, Jerry.
Yes, they certainly have, and it's been because of their good defense, I think. They haven't allowed Wood to move the ball hardly at all the second half, and you know, they've had about 5 shots at it here now, so we'll see if they can't at least hang on to it and get a couple of first downs.
A tenuous 14-12 lead held by Geddes. They've got the ball. And carrying the ball is Bob Miller. May have been a mix-up, but he again falls forward. He falls toward another first down as he needed the ball at from the 36 is where he started. He fell across to about the 34, picked up a couple. It'll be 2nd and 10. Clock moving and 5.5 minutes to play in the game.
You know, I think there was a mix-up that time, but that's a good move on the quarterback spot. You know, if you can't get the handoff, the worst thing you can do is lay it on the ground, and he just tucked the ball in, turned upfield, and made it about 1.5 yards.
Bob Miller, the quarterback, moving the football again. He gives off to Sarda. Dan Sarda over the right side, going between the end and the guard and down to about the 30-yard line. It's still going to be about 6 yards short. of a first down. Coming up on 3rd and 7, they call it.
Geddes is in no rush to run any plays. They're trying to take their time and just try and punch the ball down there and get as close as they can to a first down and try not to give Wood the football.
So, with that strategy pretty obvious right now, the Geddes Rams, undefeated through 19 consecutive games, want a state championship. They give the ball to Mike Sarda, and Mike Sarda punches it across the line of scrimmage down near the 25-yard line. It's still going to be short. Well, maybe not. Let's wait and see. Are they going to...
It'll be about a half a yard short, probably.
4th down and less than a yard. 4:25 remaining in the game. Clock is moving. The ball belongs to Geddes. So does the lead. That's an important thing to remember down near the end of the contest.
Crowd really getting into the game here now.
They sure are. Students and parents alike. And breaking across for the first down. Ooh, they moved across that time and moved it well. Sarda, the ball carrier. That's Mike Sarda. He ran for 1,200 yards during the regular season. Dan Sarda has been in the backfield. Eric Nordstrom has been in the backfield. John Sarda has seen some action when Eric Nordstrom had that injured knee. Now with 4 minutes left in the game, it's a first down at the 21-yard line. And an injury, an equipment timeout briefly on the field. And again, Jerry just allowing the Geddes offense to keep moving the football. They don't even care whether they score here, although a score would certainly be important to them.
Well,
because
the score is only important if they get the extra point.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
And going in for a touchdown, John Sarda. You said, uh-oh, just as we almost simultaneously to say the score. John Sarda carrying the ball. It's a 21-yard touchdown. Let's watch it develop again.
It's the wing. It's just a wing counter is what it is, and that's the same one they scored on.
Let's see another angle. There's Sarda. You see him right in the center. Big boy. Look at him go.
He hits that hole very quickly with good speed once he gets in the open.
It's really important now that they get this extra point if they can.
And it's another Sarda who carries it into the end zone. Well, that is an important extra point conversion.
Geddes is just overpowering Wood right now.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think maybe I was the guy that made the comment at the start there that it looked like physically Wood was the one that might have been the stronger of the two.
All right, let's take a break with the score. Geddes 22 and Wood 12. 3:51 to play in the ball game. All right, because of the nature of this contest and the importance of these last minutes, we're going to stick it here for a moment because Wood has an opportunity down 22-12. They'll get the ball back. They've not been able to move it since midway through the second quarter. Jim?
Last year, Joe Robbie, who was one of the great guiding hands in the construction of the Dakota Dome, the owner of the Miami Dolphins and the South Dakota native, sponsored the 10 Most Valuable Player Awards, 2 for each game. He again will sponsor Most Valuable Player Awards for the 1982 championship.
Mike Sarda on the kickoff. Gardner bringing the ball up across the 20. There is a flag. Jerry, what's the observation on that flag?
Well, I imagine it's probably either a clip or blocking below the waist, one or the other. Personal foul, clip, over here.
And that's against Wood. When it rains, it pours. Almost at the end zone where Rob Gardner was able to pick that ball up. That's Barry Gardner.
I think maybe that probably happened there at the first part of that instant replay, and we didn't get to see it, Jim.
It happened ahead of the viewer's picture of it as the ball is marked back to about the 12. So it'll be a first down. First down for Wood. Let's take a look at the statistics on Geddes' scoring drive. The last time out, they ran it 5 times, 36 yards. 2 minutes and 18 seconds it took him, capped by John Sarda's 21-yard run for the touchdown. And Geddes has taken a 10-point lead, 22-12. Dwayne Hall wants to pass. He puts the ball up in the air to Corey Sinkler, and the ball is broken loose. He was double-teamed and unable to pick that ball up. A nice play defensively that time by Dan Sarda. You see him walking across your field of vision, and he just was able to get up and deflect that ball. Corey Sinkler is a very, very good receiver. Hall threw it as hard as he could, and just defended at the last moment. Nope, I gave credit, really, I think, to the wrong guy that time. Eric Nordstrom.
I think, is the guy that knocked it down, yeah.
Nordstrom was in front of the play. Nonetheless, the ball was knocked away, and it's incomplete. 3:35 to play in the game. Clock stopped. 2nd and 12 now. Back at the 11-yard line. And again, Hall, knowing he needs to pass, has everybody going out. Passes it this time to Mike Moore, and Moore can't hang on to it. It was in his hands. John Sarda was one of the defenders. Was able to keep that ball away from him. Bob Miller was the other one.
I think maybe
Dan Sarda was another one.
number 80 might be a little bit upset. He might have got hit that time.
He's
the ball was in the air.
Making his feelings known. Let's look at it now. You can judge for yourself if you can see it.
I'd say he gets hit there before, right there. See, before the ball gets there.
He thought he should have had the flag, didn't he?
Yeah, I think maybe he was right.
The official was to the left side of your
That's why those poor officials, see, as soon as you have instant replays, if they're wrong, you see it.
That's right. All right, 3:27 remaining in the ball game. 22-12. Geddes leads. Woods has the ball. 3rd down and 12 from their own 11. Hall again to pass. Swings it out on the side to Todd Long. Long is going to be smothered and get very little forward on that one. In fact, follow that along. I don't think he gained anything. He's across the field from the yard markers.
Pat Higgins that time. That was a great defensive play.
Well, you're looking at a lot of pretty good ball players defensively. Mike Slaba and Ben Huggins, the defensive ends for Geddes. Jay Johnston and Pat Huggins are the defensive guards, with Nordstrom and Dan Sarda defensive backs. Bob Miller, the linebacker, with John Sarda, and Mike Sarda is a middle linebacker. Down to the last 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Tell you what, if the Higgins or the Huggins kids and the starters get sick, they couldn't have practice.
And there's the punt by Dwayne Hall. He just wants it to die, and they're just going to let it roll. No reason at all that time for Todd Long. Todd Long touches it down. Dan Sarda just let it be dead right there at the 37. Let's go to Gary Weckworth on an injury report for Wood.
For the Wood Bulldogs, number 30, Kurt Rowe, has just a compression injury of the nerves on his right wrist. It's nothing serious, I guess, at this time. He will be able to play. It'll just something that'll just heal itself. So just thought we'd pass that on to you. We'll send it back upstairs.
Not a lot of time left for that injury to heal or the scoreboard to change right now as clock is moving. 2:33 to play. Miller gives the ball to Sarda. Mike Sarda across the middle of the line, makes his forward motion to about the 34-yard line is where he'll be stopped. 2:22 left, and the clock is moving, and the sands of time are running out on Wood.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, that last time there, they needed to get the ball down there and score to try and get back in the game. Now if they do get it back, they have to score twice to go ahead in this game.
They have been playing on their own end of the field all half. I don't know that I can recall the time they were across the 50-yard line.
No, I can't either.
Miller giving this time to Dan Sarda, and Dan Sarda just keeps moving forward. He's got a first down across the 25 to the 23-yard line.
Great block by Pat Higgins and Jay Johnson that time, his center and the guard. He just followed him right in there. Great job.
Those big backs have taken their toll on the defense of Wood, I believe, Jerry, because it looks as though they're stopped momentarily, then their leg drive just completely overwhelms the defense, and they...
Yeah, I think, you know, another thing, Rowe was missing in there, too, for Wood, and they ran right at him.
1:39 left in the ball game, and just protecting the lead. They give off to Mike Sarda, and he gets little gain, but he really doesn't care. Minute 30 is what's left in the game, and it doesn't look like Wood is going to have many opportunities unless they can turn it defensively right now, and the momentum has not been theirs since midway through the second quarter.
Well, it's been a good football game, Jerry, and I think everybody will agree that they haven't been disappointed in seeing these two undefeated teams, and it's been almost right down to the wire.
You bet.
Your observation, Jerry, I think earlier really needs to be pointed out again, and that's that these teams are not used to giving up many points. They're not used to running into maybe this kind of competition, and that certainly would have affected both their offense and their defense, because they've just not had to stiffen and play that well throughout the season. They just had too big a margin of victory all the time.
Well, you know, and that says something for each other's defense again, you know, and
sure
that's when and if you get to this point where you're going to win a championship, it's probably going to be the defense going to make the difference.
Last year, the largest margin of victory in the playoffs was 10 points in the Class 11 AA, and that's what we have right now. Miller, they're going to almost let him get loose as he rolled out to the right.
Yeah, it just appeared that they were going to just run up the middle and just try and eat up the time a little bit. Miller popped outside and got quite a few yards.
He's down. That's Bob Miller, the quarterback, and his coach is coming out to take a look at it. Bob Miller, number 20, the quarterback, 5'11", 160-pound senior quarterback. The score is Geddes 22, Wood 12. Wood has given up 22 consecutive points. This is the team that threw 6 shutouts during the regular season, 4 in a row. They started the season with a shutout. They had 4 in a row in the middle of the season, 4 shutouts in the middle, 6 altogether, and now after a 12-0 early lead, they've watched Geddes, as Jim Burt commented, smother them throughout, actually, since the middle of the second quarter. With that 12-0 lead, then it was 12-8, then they were behind 14-12, and then 22-12, and that's where it is right now. Geddes has the ball, 7 seconds, and the clock moving, just protecting the football with 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and the clock stopped by the timeout.
You see who the quarterback was there? That was Sarda again.
Oh, that's right. Bob Miller went out.
Sure. I'll tell you what, that guy could do everything.
Another injury report. Let's go to the sideline again for Gary Weckworth's comments.
All right, Bob, the quarterback, I guess it's just a minor knee sprain, so it's nothing serious. It looks like they're going to have a state championship with him.
And the clock runs out as the official signal let us go. And ladies and gentlemen, you've got your first state champion crowned at the Vermilion Dakota Dome, the football capital of South Dakota. You see the students and fans representing the Geddes Rams, ranked number 1 in the poll at the end of the season. They came from an early 12-0 deficit to win the ball game 22-12. Geddes 22, Wood 12. That's the final. Jim?
We'll be back at the Dakota Dome in just a moment for the trophy presentation to the champion and the runner-up in Class 9A. Geddes 22, Wood 12.
Introducing a new natural choice from Terrace Park, the Gallon 2-Pack. The convenience of a gallon container with the vitamin-protecting goodness of paper. Pick up a Terrace Park Gallon 2-Pack today and enter our 2-Pack sweepstakes. You could win a kitchen full of Whirlpool appliances or one of 55 other valuable prizes. See details at your grocer's dairy case. The Gallon 2-Pack from Terrace Park, a natural part of your life.
You're looking at 2 of the most expensive washers you can buy. This one has a stainless steel tub with a lifetime warranty. This one doesn't. This one has an agitator with a 210-degree power stroke. Not here. This one has a transmission with a 10-year limited warranty. 5. Speed Queen. Maytag. 2 of the most expensive washers. But that's where the similarity ends. Speed Queen. Built for all it's worth.
See R&M Appliance in Pierre, Sebesma Refrigerator and Appliance in Platte, and Larkin & Jones in Rapid City.
Here's where Cenex lubricants earn their feel-tough reputation. But today's cars and light trucks need the same kind of reserve protection that Cenex has blended into lube oils all along. So take a tough line. Stop by your Cenex co-op and get the lubricants that are built tough for the fields and the roads, only at Cenex. Cenex is the country way, but Cenex is you.
Back at the Dakota Dome at the University of South Dakota Vermilion, ladies and gentlemen, where the 9A championship has been decided with Geddes coming from behind a 12-point deficit, scoring 22 points unanswered to defeat Wood 22-12. And now the trophy championships and the runner-up. Mel Loggeman, the vice chairman of the Board of Control, presenting the runner-up trophy to Coach Leo Lennick of Wood High School, and the Wood team there all will receive medals. And Dale Snyder, the chairman of the Board of Control of the State High School Activity Association, presenting the championship trophy for Class 9A to Coach Mel Fathke of the victorious Geddes Rams, who completed the season undefeated. They are now 12-0 as Coach Fathke gets the conventional right off the field on the shoulders of his players. They completed the season 12-0 unbeaten, while Wood sustained its first loss and finishes the year at a highly respectable 11-1. this afternoon's 9A championship contest in the 5 o'clock news block on your Kellerland stations. So be sure to catch that. You'll get all the interesting plays and all the touchdowns that were scored this afternoon. Well, Jerry, your summation of the contest.
Well, you know, the first half, it looked like Wood pretty much dominated the game, and toward the second half, Geddes started getting just a little bit of momentum, and they started keeping good field position, and the whole second half, I think that their field position, maybe Wood's inability to maybe kick the ball and get out of trouble a couple of times probably hurt him, but I think basically it was a defense, especially on Geddes' part, and again, I think it was the defense that kept the score down after each team averaging over 40 games, or over 40 points a game. But for a championship game, 22-12, you know, both of them played a heck of a game, and that's really a good way to start out these 5 games.
I think when we see the final stats of the entire game, it's going to be a bit of a reversal in the total offense and the total yardage. In the first half, it was 157-35 in favor of Wood. I think that'll probably be reversed.
Let's take a look at the final
So we'll take a look
statistics.
at the final stats. Okay, Jim?
Well, the first downs didn't change all that much, as you see. Geddes with the lead there, but the total yards, let's go to that. 198 for Geddes, 152 for Wood, but bear in mind, Wood had 150 yards total in the first half, so that means they added 2 total in the second half of the game, and 198 for Geddes was a plus of 163 from their first half total of 35.
The time of possession took a turn, too, to the other side. Wood had about 3 minutes advantage in possession in the first half, and just exactly 1 minute in favor of Geddes in the entire ball game.
And 2 turnovers on each side. But the final score is important, and that one is Geddes, 22-12 over Wood to win the Class 9A, their second consecutive season of undefeated football. And they retain undoubtedly their #1 ranking in the poll, that probably at this point nobody cares about the polls, because the playoffs will dispel any rumors that there's anybody better than Geddes in Class 9A, Jerry Miller, and that's the team that'll go through their second consecutive undefeated football season.
Well, you know, that's I think it's the beauty of the football playoff. You get down to the last 2 teams. The last 2 happen to be undefeated, and you know, it's the same old story. You got to go out in the field and you have to play. And in the past, when we didn't have the football playoffs, you know, all it was the sportscasters poll, and now we have a way of deciding who's the #1 team.
Let's quickly go down on the field to Gary Weckworth, who's waiting to talk to some of the participants in this contest.
So far, Jim, the Geddes coach and the rest of his teammates are in the locker room right now, and he's kind of going over with them first just congratulating them and telling them they played a great ball game. They're busy right now. They're coming out. If you just want to hold on a second, okay?
All right, we can do that for just a moment. Remember, the highlights of this game you'll see in the 5 o'clock news, so we invite you to stick around for that. Jim Burt, what time does our broadcast begin for this evening's contest?
Tonight we'll see action in the Class 11 AA, matching Lennox against Belle
Okay, here we
Fourche.
come.
And again, we have 2 evenly matched teams with identical records coming into the ball game tonight at 10 and 3 at 7:30 tonight. Kickoff at about 7:35. Now let's go downfield and to Gary Weckworth.
All right, thank you, Jim. We got a few of the players there on the state champs. Geddes Rams. Let's get it straight. Coach Fafke, did you really think you'd come back and score 22 unanswered points?
I didn't know about 22, but I could tell by the way they were fired up. They're a little just nervous at the first of the game, and we controlled the line of scrimmage a little better, and they started running harder, and I knew that momentum was going our way that second half.
All right, one quick question for Eric. That interception you came when you hurt the knee later in the second half, you didn't look like you were going to play much anymore. Then you came back and you got that key interception. How'd you feel?
Well, the rest helped, and it felt great because our defense had to help the offense.
You want a quick wrap-up?
That's just what we needed.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Congratulations to you again. We'll send it back upstairs.
Okay. Thanks, Gary, and Jim Burt, Jerry Miller, thank you. It's been a good game, though. What a way to start. The Class 9A champion has been crowned now, Geddes. And final note just handed to us, Dan Sarda of Geddes rushed for 57 yards. He had 16 carries. John Sarda carried for 32 yards on 4 carries and scored a touchdown. The Class 9A in the books, and Geddes reigns as the champion. The final score at the Dakota Dome, Geddes 22 and Wood 12.
Weckworth has the sports headlines.
Hello, Ken. How's everything going today?
Fine, busy.
Hey, we had a real good ball game to start out the 9A championship game today. 22-12. Geddes came back to beat Wood. They scored 22 unanswered points. I couldn't believe it. Everybody here, the 1,200 fans that were on hand that did make it down despite the weather, really had a good ball game to watch. And coming up, we're going to talk with the Sarda triplets. Well, they're not triplets anyway, but they're the three Sarda brothers who are on the Geddes team. We'll talk with them. Also, we'll talk with the Geddes coach again. All coming up, so stay with us.
Okay, Gary, thank you very much. We'll look forward to seeing your pregame show tonight at 7 o'clock, too. Doug?
And Gary Weckworth has been warm and comfortable inside the dome, and he's live with us now. Gary?
Thank you, Doug. With me is the Sarda brothers. Let's go through them. John, who's a 9th grader. Mike. Dan is the oldest. He's an 11th grader. And this is Mike, who is the 10th grader. These guys have been playing football together for a long time, I presume. And what happened, Dan, I was coming into the game, I knew you were going to be the big gun, but you didn't have that great of a day.
Well, I don't know. Our line wasn't blocking too good in the first half and stuff, and we came out in the second half and proved we were number one.
Mike, it must have been a pretty great moment for you when you started to go, when you went ahead 14-12.
It was just great. We had to hold them from then on, and if we did, we knew we could beat them.
Okay. And one quick word from John before we take a break and come back. The youngest one out of the crew, it was a 3rd and 1, I think. If you're going for the first down, you're just going to punch it up the middle and ended up in a touchdown. How did that feel?
Just going for the first down and trying to get good yardage off it because it worked all year.
All right, great. We'll talk with the Sarda brothers more and their coach right after this. Stay with us.
You know, there's nothing like that good feeling that you've done a job just right all by yourself. Now,
all right, we're live out at the Dakota Dome with the Class 9A champ, Geddes Rams. And how does it feel, you guys? You're kind of relaxed a little bit now, but what was that moment when the final clock went out?
It was just terrific that we won. We worked so hard for it all year. And last year we didn't make it, so we're just happy we made it this year.
Okay, now you're only a 9th grader. This must be really something for you as a 9th grader to be able to claim you were a state champion.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you guys are all going to be back next year. Dan, you're the oldest as an 11th grader. You must be looking for another state title next year?
Well, we're going to lose four good seniors this year, and we'll just have to find some other guys to take their places and lead us back.
I know, Mike, sometimes a lot of 9-man schools have a tough time even fielding a team because of graduation. Sometimes you think you'll be able to have enough for a team next year?
Yeah, we should have plenty. I think we should be pretty good if everything goes well in practice and everything.
All right, congrats you guys again. Let's move over to your coach. Mel, a couple of questions I'd like to ask you. Now, 2 years ago, Geddes was thinking of dropping the program. You're really happy today that they didn't, I presume.
You're right, we're happy. We were lacking numbers then. It might have made a difference as far as the community. They wanted to keep it, and they stuck together, and I think it carried over the kids because they were really fired up that junior varsity year, and it just carried over. We knew we had some young talent to come up.
And was it a money problem at the time?
Oh, not really so much financial. We just had lack of numbers. We only had 15 kids, somewhere around there.
So the community and the rest of Geddes is really proud of the Rams tonight.
Yeah, super. We got a big reception back in town. Everybody's really excited about it.
Well, congratulations again. One other question I'd like to ask you. Now, the playoff point system has gone through its 2nd year. Do you have any likes or dislikes about it?
I think some coaches, as far as certain regions are set up, last year we were undefeated and didn't make it. Viborg, White Lake in our same region were real close this year. I don't know if there could be any switches as far as that or not. Otherwise, just like any tournament, or any playoff situation, you can see where there are some mistakes made, but they just got to be solved in the future.
Do you foresee a chance of maybe getting the coaches together around the state and maybe have a meeting about it and try to work out the bugs?
I think they are going to work on it and talk things over. Maybe tomorrow on it, work a little more on that.
All right, thank you for stopping by real quick, and congratulations again, and have a good trip back and a safe one, all right? Coming up at 7 o'clock, stay with us. We'll have a pregame show at 7 featuring some highlights, how the teams got here this year to the Dakota Dome, and we'll also look back at the highlights from the Geddes win this afternoon, plus a lot of other features. That's coming up at 7, so stay with us. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Gary, thank you very much, and you have another exciting night of football tonight.
All right, thanks, Ken.
All right, sir. Well, coming up, I'll take...